So we've got to come in here every couple weeks and do a little refresh on this Bijan Robinson being the running back 1 overall in fantasy football 2023. It doesn't surprise me that it gets a lot of pushback. It doesn't surprise me that people are spreading it all around and talking about it, saying, have you heard this crazy lunatic? He's been talking like this for months. It doesn't surprise me even more so that a lot of other channels and analysts out there are starting to swing around to the Bijan as running back 1 overall. It's going to start happening. We talked about him being a guaranteed first-round pick back in February, March, January. And a lot of people said, rookie, as a rookie, what if he doesn't land in a good... Smitty, Smitty, what if he doesn't land in a good location? He will. How can you say that? What if he lands it? He will. He's going to go in the top 10. Smitty, he can't go in the top 10. A running back doesn't go in the top 10. What did we say? What did I tell you all back in January? He will go in the top 10. But Smitty, running backs, I don't care. He is different. He is special. He'll go inside the top 10. What happened? He went inside the top 10. Okay, so now people, he went in the top 10. But he plays for the Falcons. The Falcons are the number 1 running team in the National Football League between the tackles if you take away Jalen Hurts in that rushing attack in Philly that's led by Jalen Hurts. There's a whole lot to discuss here, but I have to do these shows. I know we've talked about this before. I know a lot of you know where I stand on Bijan being my number 1 running back overall. That's not me being, quietly I'm going to go get him. I'm drafting him over Christian McCaffrey. If I'm on the clock at number 3 overall, without a hesitation after Jamar Chase and JJ are gone, who are the clear number 1 and 2 in a wide receiver heavy setting, like on Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty, by the way. We draft tomorrow night. We draft Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Use code Smitty. Use the link in the description. When we're drafting in a wide receiver heavy format, like on Underdog Fantasy with Best Ball Mania and the Pomeranians and the weeklies, it's 3 wide receivers required and 2 running backs and then an additional flex. I'm taking Jamar Chase at number 1. I'm taking Bijan number 3. Every single time. I'm not stuttering. I'm not equivocating. I'm not confused. I'm not crazy. You can think what you want. Maybe I am a little crazy, but not because of this. Not because of this. What's crazy is to worry about what happened last year. Or what's crazy is to conversate about how Clyde Edwards-Helaire maybe failed a lot of people back in the day. And we're going to transition that fear, like Scared Scott would, over into this realm, this new age of running back, the number 1 RB we've ever seen come out of college and probably ever. This is the number 1 RB that I can remember ever coming out of college. Really since Adrian Peterson, if we wanted to tie it to somebody that felt as electric and should be the number 1 overall player. Bijan, listen to the words coming out of my mouth. Bijan Robinson should have been the number 1 overall pick in the 2023 NFL draft. Not a lineman, not a defensive player. Bijan Robinson is the number 1 player in the National Football League pretty much right away. Right away. If you're taking quarterback out, quarterback's different because quarterbacks they're different. They're leaders. You need a quarterback to win. We take quarterbacks out. Okay, this is the number 1 player in the NFL. If I'm building a team and I can't get Mahomes and Josh Allen and Hurts and Burrow and T. Law and we'll even throw Herbert in there. I know you guys think I don't love Herbert. I do love Herbert, but Fields. If you can't grab one of those guys, this is the next player in the entire National Football League that I want to build my team around. He's the number 1 overall player, essentially, aside from the quarterback in the National Football League. Everyone's going to know it. Everyone's going to believe it. And all these crazy, Smitty, this is too hot. This is a spicy take. Like, Vag, no offense. You said you like it. Your next statement was a positive one. I just want everybody to know that. Vag isn't saying, we call him Veda, Vag, we call him both. But Veda is not saying that it's bad. He's just saying it's spicy. I don't think it's spicy. I don't even feel like it's spicy at all. I honestly don't understand how the entire world isn't behind this by now. I'm starting to see it. I knew analysts would be popping out saying he's my number one because it takes them a while to get the courage to really put their balls on the table. And so for me, this is par for the course. We do this anyway. We're bold. We don't care. I don't care. I could care less what other people think of me. I could care less. But what I do care about is you guys winning. And at some point, I don't know if it was about, I would say May 1st, May 15th, somewhere around there, I just said, you know what? I'm not waiting any longer. I'm not dancing around, walking on eggshells for anybody. He is the running back one. He's the running back one. I draft him over Christian McCaffrey. I could care less what anybody else says. All I care about is you guys. All I care about is you guys hearing what my gut is screaming, because that's why you're here. Whether I'm right or wrong, sometimes I'm wrong, sometimes I'm right. I'm obviously right more than I'm wrong, or you wouldn't be here year after year. So there is track record involved, right? I'm not saying I hit everything, but if my gut's telling me, guys, this is the next Adrian Peterson, maybe better, we need to take him number one overall for all RBs. And then you get somebody that comes in and says something, no offense, but very, very Bob-like. And they say something similar to, Schmitty, you're drafting him at his ceiling. Every first rounder, you're drafting at their ceiling in terms of like feel. Like, but could Bijan actually outperform his ADP? Could Bijan actually crush 1.3 overall value? The answer is yes. Think more objectively. Think a little bit more clearly. Actually take in what I'm saying. This guy he might not just earn number 3 overall value. This might be the Tomlinson. This might be the Marshall Faulk, the Adrian Peterson in his rookie year. Because when someone says you draft, listen, this is clear. If you don't listen to a single thing I say the rest of the show, this is the longest intro we've ever had. This is a 7-minute and 29-second intro. I haven't even hit the button yet. I haven't hit the intro button yet. If you listen to one thing I say this entire show, maybe if you listen to 2, 3, 4 things I say all year, this is in those top 4, top 5 things. Listen to the words coming out of my mouth. Just because you take a guy 1, 2, or 3 overall doesn't mean you're taking them at their ceiling. It feels like that. Everybody in the first round is being taken in that territory. But keep in mind, Marshall Faulk, LaDainian Tomlinson, at number 1 overall in previous years, they were worth way more than the number 1 overall. Do you guys not remember when you got the 1 overall pick back in the Tomlinson days? You know? Kada says, you screwed me on Javonte last year, bro. Yeah, because I went out there and I kicked his knee in, bro. That's exactly what happened, Cade. Nice call, Cade. Do you guys not remember when Tomlinson you were given the 1 pick, or Falk, the Falk days, the Tomlinson days, and you got to take him? This was not you taking Tomlinson at his ceiling. You were laughing at every single person in your league. I got Tomlinson. That's worth way more than the first rounder. It's worth way more than the 1.1. Tomlinson was worth almost 2 first-round picks. You drafted Marshall Faulk. It was like drafting 2 first-round picks. It was not you're going to get your value back. You know, you're drafting him at a ceiling. Yeah, Tomlinson, you're drafting him at a ceiling. No, you were drafting Tomlinson at 1, and you were winning your league. You draft Tomlinson, you win your league. You draft Bijan, you win your league.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
It is that simple, ladies and gentlemen. It is that simple. And what it comes down to is your belief that a player can exist that has the LaDainian Tomlinson upside. There is a player that has the ability to literally win you a league single-handedly. And that player is Bijan Robinson, ladies and gentlemen. The train's full. The train's full. Every single one of you people trying to get on this train right now, we're not letting you on. The train is full. We're taking away your Bijan card.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
We're not giving it back. We're taking it away.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
There's no more room. There's no more room on this train whatsoever. There's a reason. There's a reason this man's been on the Mars Man list since the beginning of time.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars Man.
There's a reason.
Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly in space.
There's a reason a lot of you are about to smash your opponents to pieces, because we're sitting here looking at these men right here that you're going to take into battle and annihilate your opponents. And I've got potentially one more Mars Man to add, and that might be tomorrow, so hang tight on that. Cade's trying to get in here again into the conversation, Cade. Cade says, what pick are you taking him? Cade, I already said. I literally, for an 8-minute intro, said he's my number one running back. I'm drafting him over Christian McCaffrey, Cade. So type your little answer now, insert it so I can pull it on screen and we can move on. That's crazy. Over Christian McCaffrey. Are you out of your mind? Go ahead, Cade. Write it out so I can pull it on screen and we can get the receipt on screen and take a snapshot of it. Smitty got me to draft Bijan 1.12 in my Dynasty startup. Do you guys remember the best draft strategy in 2023 video I did several months ago when Bijan was a second-round pick? I know a lot of us can't even fathom there was a day where Bijan was a second-round pick, but there was a day where we had him in the first round. No one's higher on Bijan than I. Nobody. You can't find a single person higher on Bijan than me, because I have documentation. I have videos that date back to when you were born that are talking about this guy being my RB1 this year. I went back into time with the flex capacitor, with the DeLorean, with the Gray's Book Sports Almanac, and I literally have videos that explain it. Nobody likes him better than I do. People can try and replicate and climb up into the cart, in the front cart of this train, but we're not going to allow them to stay because their Bijan card's been revoked.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
Every single complaining Caleb, worried William, scared Scott, Matt Hatter out there, and Matt, you know who you are. Every single one of these people that come in here and say things like, he's a rookie, it's the Atlanta Falcons. Over Christian McCaffrey? Smitty, he hasn't even taken a snap yet. Those are the people that, I don't know that those people even follow me. Because you know by now, if you follow me, and let's say you don't agree with me 40% of the time even, you like the show, you love the banter, you love the news, we hit the news better than anybody, okay? You may not agree with me all the time, but you understand that this is not cookie cutter territory. You understand that if you come here, you're not going to get just mud thrown at the wall, but you're not getting cookie cutter. And if it rubs you the wrong way, if you can't stand to hear somebody talk about a player, God forbid, who has never taken a snap in the NFL, and my job is to be a predictive analyst, and if you have a problem with me coming out and saying Bijan Robinson is going to be the best back to ever play the game, if I come out and say something like that, and it bothers you because it hasn't happened yet, you, my friend, are late to the party, Peter. And you're always late. You're always going to be late to the party, Peter. You're never going to get there on time. And it's not because you're making a grand entrance. It's because you were always straggling behind. You need to see it happen before you'll jump on board. And that's okay. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you a bad person. But it does make you late to the party, Peter. And late to the party Peters, you know what they don't have? Do you know what little late to the party little Peter doesn't have? A Bijan card. Because
your Bijan card has been revoked.
and we're not giving it back. I don't care how much you beg. I don't care how much you complain or cry. I don't care how much you say, Smitty, how much for a ticket on the train? I'll pay double the price. You know what I'll tell you? Yeah, if you want to get a ticket, just go right over. Little itty bitty Peter is not getting on this train because it requires a Bijan card. Scott doesn't have a Bijan card. Your
Bijan card has been revoked.
And you're never getting it back. You're never getting it back. Bijan Robinson, the RB1 in 2023, end of season. My RB1 that I draft, not quietly, oh, let's just go ahead and we won't tell anybody and I'll try and steal him away at 10. I'll take him at 3. Will I trade down if I can? Yeah. Can you get him number 6 overall? Absolutely. Like in best ball underdog fantasy, promo code Smitty. The link is in the description. I'll drop the link right now as well. This right here, go to Underdog. You want to draft with us on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That link I just dropped, go to it right now. Hit that link. Sign up ahead of time so you aren't late to the party, Peter, when we go ahead and try and draft and you can't get in because you're trying to sign up. Sign up now. Get it out of the way, and that way you don't miss it. But Bijan Robinson in a best ball draft, you can't trade down. If you're at number 3 overall, you take him. You don't think twice. You take him. You grab him and you say, look, dance with me all year long, you hater about Bijan. You can hate on him all you want. Let the haters hate. Let Bijan score touchdowns because guess what? That's all he does.
Hi, my name is Bijan Robinson. I like long walks on the beach. And, well, I also like scoring.
And if you are so inclined to build a monster, by the way, first in the building today, we are live. If someone's like, is this guy even live? He hasn't even talked to the chat yet. I got some super chats I got to get to. Hector was first in the building. Sick Nasty, Sandu, Swaggy, Sam, Thomas, Jungle Jim, Melvin, D Money, Frake, Lupo, Tyler, Double A, Jeremy W, Sam, Swaggy. Alright, he said Swaggy, Jake the Snake, Nico, Blackbeard, very blessed indeed, Terry Roberts, Melvin, so on, Tyler. Appreciate you all. Appreciate you all for filing on in. And let me get to these super chats in 1 second. I don't even know what I was going to say. Oh, if you're so inclined to double down and get yourself not just Bijan Robinson, but a Four Horsemen, you can go ahead and grab this little number right here. These 4 gentlemen win you a league, ladies and gentlemen.
The Four Horsemen. Drafting Chase in round 1. Hall in 2. Burrow in 3. London in 4. Try Gibbs in 3. Burrow in 4. Wilson in 2. No problem. Combinations of these monsters will give your league mates nightmares, especially Bijan 1, Olave 2, Burrow 3, and Gibbs 4. Don't lie. You just made an oopsie in your pants, didn't you? Ride for horses at the same time. The Four Horsemen.
But Smitty, Chris Olave in the second round seems kind of steep, does it not? It depends where you're drafting, Bob. If you're drafting on Underdog Fantasy where people are putting their hard-earned money down on the line, you're going to notice they know what they're doing. And Chris Olave is a second-round player. If you're drafting with Grandma and Uncle Buck and Uncle Bob and Aunt Mildred, then you're going to, in your league, find that Olave, according to ESPN's suggested rank, looks like a 4th rounder. And if you follow the mom and pop analyst, the non-bold, traditional cut and paste analyst, guess what you're going to get? You're going to get Olave in round 4, and your analyst that you're following doesn't even know that doesn't exist. And if it does exist, it's a home run, win a league pick. Instead, you see a lot of people doing mock drafts, and they do a little graphic. Here's the mock draft. Which one of the co-host or host had the best draft? And they show Olave in round 4 as if that's a good message to send you. Like you should be waiting on Olave till round 4. I mean, if the ADP lets you get away with him going in round 3 in ESPN because the suggested rank lets him fall, by all means. But Why on earth are these people acting like this isn't an outlier beyond outliers, and that if you don't take advantage of it, you're missing the boat? Olave in round 4. If I did a mock draft on ESPN right now and I got Olave in round 4 and I pasted it onto my Instagram, the message wouldn't be, hey, who do you guys like? It'd be, whoa, guys. Wait a minute. Attention. Chris Olave. Attention. Panic. Chris Olave. Panic. Where's my panic button? Uh-oh. Hold on. Where is it?
Alert. Panic mode initiated.
If Chris Olave was sitting there in round number 4 and I posted a graphic on my social media, I would have some explaining to do. Like, hey guys, this probably it's not going to happen, but like, just slipped it in there. Olave round 4. This team wins you a league. And if you don't go Olave, insert another player. Use the process, Bob. Stop complaining about the exact players. Maybe you don't love Olave, and so be it. Go after Garrett Wilson's fallen in the second round to some people. I don't know if you guys remember, I started to say this earlier. I don't know if you remember the video I did. The best draft strategy in 2023 was to take Jamar Chase in 1, Bijan in round 2, and Joe Burrow in 3. Burrow has since fallen to 4, almost round 5. Bijan has since climbed into the top 6, and Jamar Chase is 1-2. You can't even do it anymore. But in early best ball, in the first, I think, big board drafts on Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. Again, the link is pinned in the live chat. During the big boards, you could get Bijan in round 2, Chase in round 1, and Joe Burrow in round 3. And that is absolutely the best team you could assemble through 3 rounds. And I've got tons of shares of that in the big board 1. And guess what? We're going to clean up. Phone lines will be open in 1 second. Let me hit these super chats, get these out of the way. We got Dan the Grim Reacher, and we got that boy dropping 2 $5 haulers. You guys were both the first to drop super chats on the day, so you get a standing ovation, a mashed potato. Let's go. Mashed potatoes! Appreciate you two fellas dropping that. Is it crazy that I haven't declined an offer of Barkley and Stevenson for my Bijan? It's not crazy. And I understand why you wouldn't accept that. It depends on your team build, of course, but I mean, I don't disagree. Barkley he's got 2 or 3 years left. Just because he's gotten a slow start of getting back on track, the timer has still been ticking away. Father Time doesn't go away because you have an injury. So Barkley's got 2 years left before I start looking at him like we look at Eckler right now, like we look at Derrick Henry. In 2 more seasons played, Barkley will be Eckler. So I don't blame you at all. And Stevenson's not locked into anything long-term. We love him in 2023 redraft. But in Dynasty, I got to admit, I don't know where to value Stevenson. So I'm not trading Bijan. I know Barkley and Stevenson could win you a league. And if you can win big cash money right now and you're not sure if the league will stay together, then I could see myself, flipping that script, doing the trade, winning cash money, and then going from there. But I'd rather have Bijan on its face, bro. Appreciate your super chat. And anybody can think that's crazy all they want. It also depends on your depth, though. You know what I mean? If you can't win with Bijan this year, then you do the trade. 10-man... or if you can't win, period. Like if your team can't even rebuild well, and that makes a difference for you. It's all the context matters, but on its face, I'd rather have Bijan. 10-man, full PPR, 2 QB, 3 wide receiver league. Okay, got the number 2 overall pick. Who do I take? I think you take Jamar Chase if JJ goes number 1, which he most likely will according to the ADP. If it's 3 wide receivers mandatory, then I'm going Jamar Chase. But Bijan Robinson is my number 3 in redraft. He's my number 3 in redraft. I'm not stuttering. It's right here. He's running back 1. No, I don't draft McCaffrey over him. I draft Bijan at 3 without a hesitation. I appreciate both of you fine fellas dropping your super chat. Now dial into the show.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
We will be answering phone calls the rest of the way. We will be looking at the news and trying to figure out what else you guys want to talk about right now. I'll be pulling up the news wires and Twitter and Threads. Make sure you follow me on Threads if you haven't already. Threads is my same name, The Fantasy Football Show, and the content on Threads is going to blow away your mind. Your mind's going to be blown because you're going to be like, Smitty's producing so much content on Threads. You want to fight back on Zuckerberg or whatever, be my guest, but you're going to be missing the boat. You're going to be missing the boat on it. People out there still picking Kareem Hunt, and Fournette says, Wild Bill. Yahoo is a joke. I'm starting off my league with 2 tight ends and 2 QBs in the first 5 rounds and still killing it. Prime, tell me you're not drafting 2 tight ends in a 1 tight end league, though. That never works. That is the worst idea. I hope to God you aren't trying that out. Those I'll trade one later tactics never work. They never, ever work. If both of you guys could mute yourselves, so there's no mouth breathing while the other one's talking, but we're going to go to Joe. Joe, you're live on the Fantasy Football Show. Josh, hit that mute button for me. Joe, what can I do for you?
What's up, Smith? What's up, Smitty? I just wanted to, I seen that comment in the beginning where the guy was like, you screwed me on Javonte.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. I drafted Javonte too, and since Smitty has the mindset of, adapt, I still won my league because I picked up the running back from the Seahawks.
Walker.
And we made it happen. He got hurt. Yeah. So, listen, you're going to strike out sometimes because you can't predict injuries. But if you follow Smitty, you know that you have to adapt all the time. And he brought it home for us anyway. So
stop, drop, and roll.
That guy watches now.
Stop, drop, and roll, baby. You know what I mean? Like things catch on fire, you stop, drop, and roll in real life. It's the same thing in fantasy. You stop, drop, and roll. Walker's sitting right there. There's a reason we said be patient on Walker. And what did these impatient Ians do? They cut him. And he was sitting out there on waivers. And maybe, Joe, you were an impatient Ian. Maybe I'm not saying you weren't or were or weren't. But some people drafted him and cut him and then got him back. But then you had to drop a full, load drop on that.
Initiate full load drop.
Because you ended up having to, go back and crawl back to Walker and say, I'm sorry I cut you, even though Smitty said be patient. People weren't patient with Pierce. They cut him after week 1. You know how much hate I got after week 1? It was crazy, bro. Pierce is, oh my God, Pierce looks bad. Where's Breece Hall? Smitty, where is Javonte? Like, what are we doing, Smitty? Nothing's working right now. And it did take a little bit of time. St. Brown popped off for us. He was literally the number 1 wide receiver in the first 2 weeks of football, and he was a moon man. It took a little time, but when Breece Hall and Javonte went down, it was like a kick to the nuts twice for me because those were two of my top 5 bold predictions on the year. But Walker came through strong. Breece Hall came through strong. A lot of our guys, Jalen Hurts and Burrow were 2 of the top 5 predictions that I had, I would say. And both those guys crushed it. Jalen Hurts single-handedly won people leagues. You're going to have misses. You're going to have injuries. Yeah, and for that guy to say, I screwed him because Javonte tore his ACL, it just goes to show you can't please everybody. Bro fist to that guy, and hopefully he comes around and just says, never mind. I'm good, Smitty. My fault. I let it get the best of me, and I'll hug it out with that guy. It's all good. I have thick skin. I know some of you think I don't. I have very thick skin. I'm very argumentative, but I have thick skin. I could care less. That guy could come in and say, Smitty, bro fist. I don't care. I really don't care. It doesn't bother me if one person, 2 people, the whole world doesn't agree with me. I really don't care. It's why I have this show, is to voice my opinion and express myself how I want to, and hope that it can touch and reach as many people as possible that want to listen to my style of fantasy football content producing. It's not for everybody. Some people like the very boring cookie cutter type stuff, but this is still a very in-depth show. Like I'm not out here just throwing mud at the wall. Some people think that, and I don't know what gives them that impression. I think what gives them that impression is because I'm extra bold, and I will let my eyeballs take over and dominate the conversation between gut instinct and stats. Stats and algorithms and breakout years and things like that definitely weigh in on my decision, but gut instinct is going to override all of that every single time, and sometimes people just have a problem with that. Redraft 3 wide receiver, 2 running back, better start Chase or Bijan. Again, I'll say it again, 3 wide receiver mandatory. It is probably better to go Jamar Chase than Bijan because it's a 3 required wide receiver league. And as much as I love Jamar Chase, I mean, guess what? I mean Bijan. Guess what? Jamar Chase is going to score, in my opinion, 14, 15, 16, 17 touchdowns this year. He is arguably by far and away number 1 wide receiver ranked in 2023 because of my touchdown production and yardage. I think he's going to be well over 1,500 yards. He's number 1 in the National Football League in fantasy points per target, and he's getting a revamped offensive line for his boy Joe Burrow, more time to throw. They're finally going to play a full season together, I believe, and Jamar Chase is going to be straight up lights out, absolute fire. Being RB1 doesn't necessarily mean he's number 1 overall. The format matters. Now, in a 2 running back mandatory, 2 wide receiver mandatory, and 1 additional flex, meaning you can start more RBs than you can start wide receivers. If you're only required to start 2 wide receivers, but you could start 3 running backs if you wanted, Bijan's the running back 1 overall. I mean, he's the number 1 overall pick. He's the 1.1. I take him over Jamar Chase. I take him over JJ. If it's a non-PPR, 3 wide receiver mandatory, 2 running back, and a flex like the best ball scoring, if it's non-PPR, I might lean Bijan even in a 3 required wide receiver format. So format totally matters. In general, Chase is the number 1. JJ's the number 2. Just because Chase is my number 1 doesn't mean I don't love JJ. I still love JJ, but when you weigh it all out, like Chase has got the advantages to me. Doesn't mean JJ's not the number 2 overall player or can't be the number 1 wide receiver. He certainly could. But Bijan's, for me, the number 1 running back, plain and simple, like the title of the video says. It's not Christian McCaffrey. It's not Christian McCaffrey sometimes. It's Bijan. Bijan's going to, in my opinion, lead the league in at least 2 of the 3 main categories. Carries, touchdowns, yards. And I think he's a top 5 PPR running back his rookie year. I can't wait. Let's go over to Josh. Josh, you're live.
Hey, Smitty, how you doing?
I'm good, bro.
First of all, before I get started, I just want to say I've been here since subscriber number 14. I remember the day I subscribed was the day a certain analyst dropped Darwin Thompson in the Throne League. I don't know if you remember that, but I haven't called in much. Just want to say big fan, and I appreciate everything you do.
Hey, man, appreciate you. What can I do for you?
Do you remember that day?
Yeah, it was.
Thompson?
He dropped. That was crazy. That was fun. The Throne Draft. If anybody doesn't know what the Throne Draft is, it's where I put together this league where 11 other experts and myself come together on Instagram, and we do live streams and put up posts, and we let you guys in polls. We let you guys draft our teams for us, and so every time we're on the clock, the draft takes about 3 weeks to a month. And you're on the clock like every day and a half. And when I'm on the clock, we have like 2 hours. I go live. I'll go live on YouTube. I'll go live on IG. I go live more than all those guys, though, to get my vote in. They'll put sometimes they'll put a poll up, or they'll have a private Discord of like 15, 20, 30 guys, and they don't include their whole community. And the whole point was to include your whole community. But everybody's given the freedom to do it the way they want, because it'll backfire. If you don't let the whole community vote and you just come down to like 20 guys, like how is that getting your community involved? Your community's failing to draft the player. Me, I like my community, the entire community, to draft the player. And so in the Throne, Fantasy Football Throne, you're fighting for the throne. I go to you guys make the pick for me. And within 3 weeks, we draft a team and we battle it out. And we've had some bad luck with injury these 2 years, but we've had really good teams. It's just been injury, you know. I believe it was Breece Hall or Javonte in the Throne last year, but I mean we recovered pretty good. We just didn't have enough firepower at the end of it all. But yeah, the Throne will be kicking that off in August, so get ready for that. You guys draft my team. We'll go live when I'm on the clock.
Cool. So anyway, what I wanted to pick at was your issue with Javonte.
as far as you saying that he won't be ready, I just don't see how it's possible for anyone to make such a claim that Javonte's not ready and Breece Hall is ready. I mean, I don't even think the coaches know, right? I mean, you're not in there looking at his knee. You're not the surgeon. I feel like the only person who can make a claim that someone's going to be ready, someone's not going to be ready, and definitively claim that is, the surgeon or the doctor, not even a coach.
Yeah. So let me hit that real quick, and I'll tell you my 2 cents on that. 269 caller. What's your name? I'm going to put you on hold, but tell me your name. 269 caller. What's your name? Okay, Logan, hang tight for me real quick. I'm going to come to you in a second, all right? Appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, no problem.
So, Josh, right? I don't know. You said something that wasn't entirely accurate. You're saying that I don't think Javonte is going to be ready, and that's not what my video said. So that's not how I categorized Javonte. How I categorized...
Well, what I got it from, you said, I believe you said, correct me if I'm wrong, that Javonte is at least 1 month behind Breece Hall. And I just found that is kind of like, I don't know how you could possibly come up with that conclusion.
Based on the reports that we're hearing, that's what we have. That's what we have to go on. Now, could we be misled? Absolutely. But from everything that I'm hearing from people that are connected to the situation, or just a lot of I have a lot of connections to like different fan pages, and like my boy RSF 49ers connected to the Niners. You guys would be like amazed at how many people that I talk to that are, some of them don't have any more information than I do. They're just glorified fan pages. Some of them have real good connects. The bottom line is this. Breece Hall is very, very much more active for sure on the field, running, cutting, doing things than Javonte. So he's for sure behind. Like that's not like conjecture. That's not a guesstimation. Like Breece Hall has been actively running and cutting to a more significant degree that, from what I've heard, than Javonte. Now, could all of these reports be wrong? I doubt it. I doubt it. The fact that Breece Hall still could suffer a setback though. Like if they said, hey, Breece Hall's not ready, we might not even be told he specifically did this and he felt a little pain. He went in to get it checked out. It looks like they got to go back in and do a cleanup. There's some cartilage that still needs to be cut that's catching. There's so many things, and we will not be told most likely everything. So if Breece Hall's news goes backwards for any reason, then we know a setback of some kind probably happened. But Breece Hall also had a much cleaner ACL tear. So Javonte tore his LCL, meniscus, ACL. So when you ask me, hey Smitty, how do you know? Like it seems almost, I'm putting words in your mouth a little bit, but it seems a little reckless to say that Javonte's a good month behind Breece. How can I say that? 20 years of experience. 20 years of experience. I will literally make educated guesses for you guys that I could be wrong on, bro. But you kind of got to just take my word for what it, take my word for it if you respect and understand that I've been doing this for 20 years. If you have an LCL tear, an ACL tear, meniscus tear, you have a much more like jostled up knee. Look at J.K. Dobbins and his recovery, because it's a very similar recovery. You are going to have a longer recovery process. Your rehab process is in nature going to be a significant amount more aggressive and long-term than Breece Hall's very clean ACL tear. So that alone puts Javonte behind Breece Hall, like for sure. And the other part is we've got a lot of back and forth and double talk from Sean Payton, from Javonte himself. Even yesterday was, I think I'm ready to go and I need to get back up to speed, and it's up to the team whether they want to let me. Then he's not ready to go. You can't be ready to go. He's not even close to being ready to go if the team hasn't unleashed him yet. If he hasn't got back up to speed, that means he's running. He's doing some good. He's been rehabbing for forever. So it's not like he hasn't cut in rehab. He's doing band work. He's doing all kinds of stuff. Not to mention, bro, I have had multiple knee injuries, all of these injuries myself. So I can definitely give you, like, although I'm not a pro athlete, recovery time frame of recovery and rehab process. My schedule was very different than their schedule. But I can tell you right now, Javonte's knee injury required so much more. And he's very much in the J.K. Dobbins bucket of he's probably going to be rushed to get back to week 1. And Sean Payton himself said, we think he'll be ready for week 1. We hope he doesn't start on the PUP. I'm not going to really even tell you whether he is or isn't. That's what Sean Payton's press conference was. In a nutshell, they think he'll be ready for week 1. They hope he's not on PUP. And I'm actually not going to tell you what's really going on. He said those 3 things in so many words. So until we have definitive reason to believe he's way ahead of schedule, which we've heard those words used, Breece Hall is ahead of schedule. Breece Hall is looking great. Until we hear those things about Javonte, we have to assume he's behind because we heard those reports on Breece months ago. We haven't heard those reports at all. So if anything, Javonte's well more than a month behind Breece Hall. But does that mean Javonte can't get on his horse quickly and rehab in a rapid way and have some sort of a miracle last month and, get on the field in week 1, get 8 carries, get 9 carries in week 2, get 10 carries in week 3, week 4, 5, and 6, he starts getting 15, 14 carries and starts looking amazing. Like, absolutely, bro. Absolutely, that could turn that way. But until we have definitive and absolute, news reports that support it, I think what I'm guiding you on is as accurate as you could possibly predict at this point, and we're predicting. No one, like you said, no one's sitting there moving his knee, checking it out, has the medical reports. So no one's claiming this is 100% the way it's going, but this is the best guess we have. And someone's got to guess it, bro, because you're drafting around it. You know what I mean? Like, Josh, what am I supposed to say to anybody? We don't know, so just keep leaving yourself in the dark. I have to come up with the best assessment I can so you guys can react. And if you watch my entire live stream, I said, be careful because you don't know where this process is. I even said that, Josh. No one knows where he's at. No one knows where he's at, which is why you need to keep him in round 7. You know what I'm saying? Like I said that in the live stream, almost the whole live stream, I kept circling back to everyone's going to take Javonte saying I'm ready in a good way. Some people are going to read it like I am. The truth of it is that he's just telling you he's ready. Every player is going to say that. He's not ready. And we don't know when he's going to be ready. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Got it. All right. Well, I appreciate your feedback and viewpoint, and it's valid.
Yeah.
So thanks for.
Well, what else you got, Josh?
That.
What else you got?
That's really it. I got to run, man.
Okay. Hey, Josh, call in anytime. I appreciate you, and you're one of the OGs from the beginning, and I can't thank you enough for being a part of the show, man.
Sure.
Later, pal. Let's go over to Logan. Logan, you're live on the show, bro.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, pal?
So, I know how high you are on Bijan, obviously. I am very high on him myself, and I have been very excited to take him overall this year. However, there is the debate of Christian McCaffrey being there. I know that I'm going to have a high pick this year for my family league. It's about the only one that I do other than underdog drafts and things like that. I guess I'm just wondering, in your opinion, is the Bijan being number 1 more strictly related to you're not sure if Christian McCaffrey is going to be healthy, or do you just believe that he's going to be over Christian McCaffrey, period, whether he's healthy or not?
Both. Sick Nasty, Burrow hits 50 TDs and Rodgers hits 48. Those are really bold. I wish Burrow could hit 50. I think he's over 40, but I love the bold take. Sick Nasty, you're the man. Appreciate you. So I would say this, bro. I would say there's a couple things. The answer is both. I think Christian McCaffrey, even if he plays all year, Bijan will outscore him. People can be upset at that if they want. There's a lot of reasons to think that if McCaffrey is able to stay healthy, like think about this for a second. We wrote Christian McCaffrey off 2 years ago. Or at least a year and a half ago, we wrote him off. The fantasy football community as a whole was like, I don't think I could ever trust him at 1 overall. I'd take him. It depends where he falls. Everyone's got really short memories for where they ranked Christian McCaffrey before that season began last year, before he was even traded to San Francisco. People have very short memories on purpose because they don't like to remember things they feel wrong about. And we all were wrong in a sense, thinking he he would ever get the value he got, because we didn't anticipate him getting traded to the Niners. And the Niners is a very potent offense. There's a very good fit. It still is a very good fit. The problem is his injury history. I don't care if he didn't have like an ACL tear, his nagging injury history, which is in some ways not more concerning, but more telling as to his body being overworked for years. He's been the highest percentage of his offense over any player in the National Football League for so many years, a handful of years. Christian McCaffrey keeps his body in shape. He takes care of himself almost better than anybody, but Father Time is going to take a toll, and he's been overworked to the extreme. To be the number 1 or number 2 overall player in fantasy football as a running back, you have to be overfed. You have to be overfed. Let me put this caller on hold. 815 caller, who's this? I'm going to put you on hold real quick, but what's your name?
This is Neil, man.
Okay, Neil, hang tight for me real quick, okay?
All
right. Put on mute if you don't mind. But in order to be the number 1 overall player in fantasy football, you have to be extremely overworked. Like, you have to be abused. You can't be this overwhelming fantasy football number 1 overall player and not be completely abused. He's been abused. McCaffrey's been absolutely abused. And now he goes to a place where the Niners consistently, not just dumb luck, it's part of its scheme, part of it's how aggressive Shanahan is with his running backs and his quarterbacks. There's rhyme and reason to it. This is not some, it's football, people get hurt. That is the dumbest way to describe what goes on in San Francisco with all these injuries. Because Kyle Shanahan has one of the most aggressive schemes, and he runs his RBs into the ground. And so you have not only that going on, right? But you also have the fact that Christian McCaffrey, in order to produce, needs to play at such a volume that his injury risk is through the roof. Like, if they dial him back, he's not going to outproduce Bijan. If he's going to be fed enough to outproduce Bijan, he probably gets hurt. So it's, for me, and not guaranteed, it's an odds game. But I just feel like we're all just glossing over the fact that we literally wrote him off a year and a half ago, saying maybe we take him, but he's certainly not the number 1 overall player anymore. And San Francisco is amazing, but there's so much like polling and movement with the offensive line, where you got linebackers being blocked by tight ends and RBs. And there's a reason why the quarterback is getting injured over and over for a lot of those reasons. And the same thing with the RB. It's an aggressive system for an RB. And there's talk about maybe, and this is all, speculation, but because Shanahan's not going to tell you, that's where you know people are absolutely lying, because Shanahan's not going to tell you anything. But there's a lot of thinking that they use Eli Mitchell a lot. And that's going to help keep CMC healthy, and they need to keep him healthy down the stretch. So this might be a situation where it's kind of frustrating to watch Mitchell and McCaffrey share. Bijan Robinson, he's so young, bro. No one's going to be worried about holding his carries back. Maybe at some point I could see him having like a 340 carry season or something, 325 carry season, and them saying walking into a second year, we need to lessen the carries on Bijan to keep him healthy. Like, I could see that happening walking into year 2. Doesn't mean we'll shy away from him. It just means that they're going to use him so much as a rookie, and they run the ball better than anybody, and they need an Algier. They need somebody else taking the carries, because guess what? Bijan's going to get, there's zero concern that Bijan's going to get the amount of carries he needs to be the RB1 overall. There's zero. Like, they're going to run so many more times than the amount of times Bijan's carrying the football. If they gave Bijan 100% of the work and there wasn't a Tyler Algier there, he'd have 500 carries. He can't have 500 carries. He'll break. So Bijan needs to be in a safe territory, which means that Algier needs to stay healthy. We want Algier there. It's so funny. People use Algier as a reason to shy away from Bijan. Bijan, in my opinion, has 1,500 yards on the ground rushing. He has 300 or 400, 450 receiving yards potentially. He catches 55 plus receptions. He scores maybe, I don't even know, 14 plus touchdowns. I really think he's going to lead the league in 2 or all 3 of those categories: carries, yards, and touchdowns, and be a top 5 PPR guy. I like Christian McCaffrey, bro. I have drafted Christian McCaffrey. When I get the number 4 pick over and over and over and over, there will be a time I go Kelsey and go CMC just to mix it up a little bit. But I'm telling you, bro, 9 times out of 10, I'm taking Bijan. I just don't care. I put all my eggs in one basket. If he gets hurt, he gets hurt. If he doesn't get hurt, I'm going to have so many combinations of teams that have different builds around Bijan that my odds of winning are going to be astronomical. You know, so yeah, you do put all your eggs in one basket, but you selectively do it when you believe in something. And if it crashes, it crashes. You know, I had a lot of Breece Hall teams last year. And it is what it is. And a lot of them I recovered. A lot of them I crawled to the finish, won first place. But, bro, I needed some help from a lot of the guys like McKinnon. And it is what it is. But if Breece Hall would not have got hurt last year, our whole community would have cleaned up in ways that we would have been more on the map than we are now. Because people were like, that guy from the fantasy football show community won. That guy from the fantasy, because we had it all covered anyway. We had all these breakout players, Hurts and Walker and Pierce and Amon-Ra and all, and then the Hall and Javonte on top of it, and those two guys had torn ACLs. It's fun. It's why we play, bro. What else you got, Logan? And then I'm gonna head over to Dakota. You can stay on the line, but Dakota and Steve are next. But Logan, anything else?
Yeah, just one more thing. I was wondering how you felt about the Vikings offense outside of Justin Jefferson, with T.J. Hawkinson and rookie, Jordan Addison. I wasn't sure how you thought the target split would be there, or just how much work those other two will get, because Hawkinson was getting, 10 some crazy targets a game or something, and that was last year with Thielen, but with the rookie coming in, Cook leaving, it's kind of jumbled right now. I wasn't sure what you thought.
Yeah, I mean, there are some in the chat, in the community, in the industry that like Addison more than I do, and it's not a knock on Addison. It's a knock on that I believe that the volume is not going to necessarily be as high as other people believe. That's just an opinion I have. Doesn't mean I hate Addison. Doesn't mean I don't draft Addison. That's the funny part, is people take it as like this crazy negative. Like, I still like Addison. I still draft Addison. I just don't draft him with the expectation that he's going to produce fantasy football wide receiver 2 numbers. Could he? Sure. You know, but a lot of things have to happen for him to get that kind of volume. And I do believe there are more mouths to feed in that situation than a lot of other situations that people are talking about. Like, I just think Hawkinson and Osborne's not going to go away. Hawkinson is going to command a ton. You know, there's a reason to believe that Addison will get a crazy amount of targets, but how many yards will he have? How many touchdown opportunities will he have? I don't know. And I'm not a huge Cousins truther. I like Cousins. What he did was amazing last year, but it's not something to where I feel as high about Addison as other people. I'm open-minded to it. I'm not saying Addison's a bust. I'm not saying Kirk Cousins is a bust. But am I expecting a replication of last year? Not really. Could it happen? Sure. But it doesn't make anybody right or wrong. It just means that we've got different opinions about the height that Cousins and the Vikings will reach this year. I predict, and this is my gut instinct, that the Vikings look a little worse this year. I predict that this will be Cousins' last year in Minnesota, which means that Cousins probably won't have the season that I think a lot of Cousins truthers believe he will have. Because if he does, they will retain him. So I'm obviously predicting that this is a guy they've been potentially wanting to move on from. They were talking about Anthony Richardson. There's been news for days on it. I like Cousins. I just don't love him. I like Addison. I just don't necessarily love him. JSN is a guy that I'm going to be talking about a lot in the upcoming weeks in weeklies. And he's in the same boat, though, because both these guys are going to be, in my opinion, not going to get the volume that people think initially. But maybe they do later. Like if Osborne goes down or Hawkinson goes down or, God forbid, JJ gets abducted by aliens. We won't even say injury. Then Addison to the moon. But that's a change in scenario, and you can draft for that a little bit, especially in weeklies. You can draft for that a little more. I like Addison a lot more in weeklies. I like JSN a ton in weeklies. But JSN's going to be off the field a lot. 12 personnel. The Seahawks aren't changing that. The Seahawks aren't going to change that. Not a majority, but a lot of the passing plays will literally have 2 wide receivers on the field. You know, so JSN's not taking over for Lockett unless Lockett gets injured. So there is reason to believe JSN is being overhyped in redraft. But I love him in weeklies because I do believe at the second half of the season, if Lockett goes down, that you're going to see JSN explode or have those 4 or 5 huge games that he's capable of having. But overall, I'm not drafting JSN to be in redraft a consistent wide receiver all year because he won't be on the field a lot of the time with the way they run their personnel. It's just not going to happen. Addison's going to have more of a chance to be on the field all the time, which is great for him. That's why he has a little bit more attractive redraft value than JSN, in my opinion. Not that I like Addison better than JSN. I've wavered over the offseason, but at the end of it, walking into the 2023 NFL draft, JSN held onto him and Flowers were kind of neck and neck for the number 1 wide receiver spot from a skill set perspective. And I like Flowers' landing spot. It's good. And he still may crack the moon man again. He got demoted down to the satellite man list, but he could move up. But, you know, those guys have evolving situations. So my cautionary tale would be just draft Addison and JSN with expectations of them being inconsistent in the first part of the year. And I do believe there's opportunity for both of them, not just one, Addison too, but especially JSN, to really kind of pick up and do what maybe Watson did in that short amount of time. I could see him having that kind of finish. What Jahan Dotson looked like. Christian Watson and Jahan Dotson both had about like 800 yards, if I remember correctly, and about 7 touchdowns, right? So that's the kind of year JSN could have in a second half part of the year is the way I'm looking at that. Logan, hang tight real quick. Let me go over to Dakota, Dave, and then Scuba's next, and then we got a couple other callers on hold. Dakota, Dave, you're live.
Yeah, hey, Smitty. I got a question about Saquon. You did the video yesterday on Javonte. Not about, his old injury, but I remember you've been saying that, there's higher injury risk for these guys who don't practice with the team. And so I'm wondering if you're still feeling that way with Saquon.
I will. Right now, it's very minimal, but every day that goes by, if you could quantify it, I'm sure it's a very small percentage, but I believe every day that goes by that he's out of tune and out of sync, that's a problem. That's a slight little, hiccup. And look at Deebo Samuel last year, when Deebo Samuel said that him and Shanahan had to kind of kiss and make up this offseason. And I don't think a lot of people really understood what they were talking about, because Deebo said point blank that we put it behind us and we're going to move forward. And people are like, what did he mean by that? Because Deebo said, I looked at my film and I never want to put film like that on tape again because he looked awful. He looked sluggish. He had a bad year, and he's essentially calling himself out. But at the end of it, he said, we put it behind us, and I got a late start last year with the contract and it all dragging. Shanahan in the Niners, who I blame for a lot of what happened with Deebo having a bad year, they literally dragged their feet on a contract they were going to extend anyway. They let the value hike up on Deebo, and they weren't going to overpay him anyway. They're going to make him, disgruntled. The whole fan base went after Deebo. I don't know if I do a lot of Niner-related stuff on Instagram with Raj, or we haven't lately, but we used to last year. And the animosity and hate for Deebo from his own Niner fan base was ridiculous. I was defending Deebo more than the average Niner fan. And I was saying how the Niners were at fault here. They know they want to extend him. Just do it now. The guy put his body on the line in 2022, sacrificed himself for the team, or 2021, and they can't even extend him walking into 2022 early on and say, hey, all your hard work, here's a check. Instead, they're like, no, bro. You're going to wait like everybody else, even though he said, wait a minute, I played running back for you. I played wide receiver for you. I said, I got this. Coach said, okay. And then you walk into the offseason. It's like, you're at the end of the line, pal. We'll come circle back around for you in August. And so Deebo held out, and Deebo got off kilter. And Deebo said he was, and I blame part of it on Deebo. for, coming in. It looked like he was carrying a lot of extra LBs, to be honest. And he's kind of a thick dude anyway. So like, even right now he looks like he's carrying extra LBs, and that's worrisome to me when you're taking the kind of running back hits that he's taking, and he's quick, and he's elusive, and he's great. I love Debo, but circling back to Saquon, I'd say that every day that goes by, it's not great, but it's a small percentage of risk that gets piled on, and it's still very minute at this point. Once July 17 happens, which is 7 days away, Saquon Barkley either has to accept that his franchise tag tender of roughly over $10 million is his 1 year salary, and it can't change, bro. The Giants and Barkley have until the 17th to get a long-term deal done, or his 1 year deal is locked in and you can't undo it. You can't negotiate later. That is the absolute deadline. And if 17th comes, Barkley has no say in it. He is on a 1 year deal. That's it. So what's he going to hold out for? You know what I'm saying? What's he going to hold out for? He can't get a long-term deal after the 17th. It's off the table across the league-wide. So what's he going to do? You are literally signed to that tender, and he can either not show up and not play football in 2023, or he can show up and play football and just fight it out and work for next year. But Saquon Barkley, I don't think he holds out past the 17th. I still think there's a really good chance that the team extends him, or gives him a new contract rather, before the 17th. So we have 7 days, because Barkley's not asking the world. He's saying, I don't want to set records. I understand my market. I just want to get paid better. And so the Giants are pretty reckless to walk into next year not locking him up on what I believe is going to be a reasonable amount of money. But, teams do weird things with RBs. They disrespect RBs. RBs get the shaft, and it's going to probably continue. But I'm not worried yet. So if he holds out past the 17th, you're going to see Barkley tank on my rankings.
Gotcha. Okay.
But right now, real quickly, one of the best picks in the second round. That's how crazy that line in the sand is, bro. And the line in the sand moves based on news and all that. And that's not flip-flopping. That's being a realistic, adjusting and adapting. You stop, drop, and roll when there's a fire, bro. And Barkley, as of this moment, is one of the best second-round picks in all of fantasy football. And if he signs a long-term deal, he's going to climb into the bottom of round one. Why? Because people hear about it. They see a contract, they get reminded, his name gets brought up. A lot of analysts will start creating content around it because he's in the news and he's in the forefront of everyone's mind. So he'll rise up. So there's a pro and a con to him getting an extension, because if he just comes to camp, or shows up after the 17th, then maybe he sees an uptick because people aren't worried about his availability, but it might not trigger a huge ADP climb, is my guess, because he's not getting the fat contract. Like when Joe Burrow inks his big fat deal and Joe Burrow gets paid, and he will. Joe Burrow in the next, couple weeks even, might get inked to one of the biggest contracts, if not the biggest contract to ever grace a quarterback's desk. And once that happens, guess what happens? He climbs from round 4 to round 3, because everyone will be mentioning his name. And your average Bob and Uncle Bud and Aunt Gertrude out there, you know what they do? Okay, who's in the news? If Joe Burrow is getting paid to be the number 1 quarterback in the NFL, he must be pretty good at fantasy, and he must be a top 3 quarterback then. If they're willing to pay him that, then he's got, okay, I'm gonna put him in round 3. Joe Burrow in round 4 might cease to exist if he gets a contract anytime soon.
Okay. By the way, Saquon on ESPN is already first round. He's, I think his ADP is 10.
Already first rounder. He just stayed there because their ADP's never really even been updated. I don't know. Tough to say, because Olave's in round 4 or 3 because it hasn't really been updated. So, you know what I mean? So it's hard to know what that is. Is that anybody adjusting, or is that just ESPN's delayed ADP? Like, you know how Bob has a mullet? And Bob doesn't have a mullet because it's in style now. He never got rid of it. And so Bob kept his mullet. It was not in style. He never cut it. And then it went out of style and everybody made fun of it and he kept it. And now mullets are back in style. And they're like, Bob, nice cut. And Bob's been sporting it from the beginning of time. That's like ESPN's ADP. It's like an old greasy mullet that just happens to be accurate in some ways. And everybody thinks it's been updated. You know what I'm saying?
They update it, but it's probably once every 6 weeks or something like that. So, for example, Garrett Wilson, he was in the 3rd round. Now he's like around 1920. Brees Hall was, I think, in the 4th round, and now he's mid-2nd round also. So they do change things a little bit, but you're right, Saquon hasn't budged.
Yeah. All right, hang tight. If you want to stay on hold, you can, Logan. Scuba Steve, and then I'm going to go over, after Scuba, I'm going to go over to Blake and then Neil. So hang tight, Blake and Neil. I know it's been a while, but phone lines are packed today, as they probably will be from here on out, now that we're in July, mid-July. Go ahead, Scuba. What's up, my guy? What do you want to talk about that we've already covered today?
Hey, Smitty, what's up, my man?
What's up?
I hadn't talked to you, man. You're dropping bombs just like I'm going to be watching. Well, I am watching the Home Run Derby. These guys are going to be dropping bombs. So I figured I'd come in and I don't know if you covered this. Maybe you already did. But Jim Irsay was talking about Jonathan Taylor's knee. He said he's healed up. I don't know if that's just coach speak, because I mean they did lie about the guy's ankle for most of the season. If it does look like he's all set and he is ready to go, how much exposure do you want on him? 'Cause I know that Bijan's your number one guy, but do you want to fire up on Jonathan Taylor too, or are you going to avoid him for like other guys around where he's going?
Well, I'll address Dimitri. Here's a reply to that. You can read it, and I'll come circle back around on your super chat. Appreciate your super chat.
To the moon,
my man, for doing that. JT is a question mark for me, bro. I like him in round 2, but like Bijan, this is like not even in the same universe, you know. And that's crazy to say because, it's crazy to say because he was number 1 year ago, you know, or in the top 3 or whatever. So we're writing him off, and I'm saying things like he's not even in the same universe as Bijan. So I get where someone might say, well, wait a minute, you know, is there a shot that he could? Yeah, there's a chance he could return to the number 1 overall player value. Like there's a shot. The thing working against him is that the offense is going to be, you know, run by a quarterback that's going to consume a lot of the rushing touchdowns and opportunities. It's going to be run by a quarterback that may hand the ball off to JT in a situation where maybe the defense is so focused on where Richardson is that there is some room to run. And we've seen this work both ways. A running quarterback has had a very productive RB in the past. Rock out, try one more time. I tried to click it. It didn't let me click it. And we've also seen it before where a running quarterback has had, you know, the running back's been vultured and can never produce, you know. So it's not like you can tell it's going to go one way or the other when there's a running quarterback involved. I believe if I had to guess, I would say JT isn't going to get back to his old self. He could get back to a very productive top 12 to 15 overall player. He could get back to being a guy he might do so well. You draft him at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 next year because he had such a decent year, such a good year. But do I think he could climb back into the 1, 2, 3, or 4 top 5 overall draft selection value? No. So for that reason, he doesn't sniff Bijan for me. He is in the 2nd round. I'd take Barkley over him. I'd take St. Brown over him. I'd take Garrett Wilson over him. And I'd contemplate taking a quarterback like Jalen Hurts over him versus forcing myself to take JT. It doesn't mean I don't like JT. It just means he's borderline 6 to 10 for me. And because I'm so unsure myself, whether it's 10 or 6, I don't really want to go near it. I feel like there's just safer avenues to go. Do I think it's possible? Yeah, but this is going to be Anthony Richardson's team, and for good or bad. And if it's for bad, then JT's not going to survive well. If it's for good, then JT's going to get vultured, and just be as efficient as he can be. But can JT have a 15 touchdown season? It's possible, but very unlikely. So maybe we're back here a year from now going, wow, what a great fit it is. Anthony Richardson opens up the run, and it could work out. It could work out, but I'm not going near him when you have a unknown situation like the Colts situation. Like this thing, not only is there a rookie quarterback in there, not only is it a new offense essentially, not only is there a vulture situation going on, not only do you have an injury and a failed year the year prior, so you have a little bit of having no traction or momentum. All those things are negative, bro. There's a lot of negative things to pile up on top of each other. But you also have an offense that even if Richardson gets on his horse and does well, maybe, bro, it's still gonna be kind of a sluggish offense. You know what I mean? Like it might not be electric except for watching him rush touchdowns in. I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Well,
I'm not sold on it.
Just gonna say, I mean, Jim Irsay was already saying that the way they made it seem that Gardner Minshew was probably going to start, and then at some point they're going to turn over to leave. I mean, to Anthony Richardson, who knows if that's even true? But I guess, is it a fair way to point out, to look at it is instead of getting exposure to yourself, just to see if let's say he starts out slow, that maybe you try to go in there and trade for him. Like it's not something that going into the draft, you know what I mean? Like automatically, this is a guy that you want. But say if your team's doing pretty good, you have a 3 or 4 and you have 3 4-0 or something, and somebody who drafted him is 1-3 or something, and Jonathan Taylor's starting out slow. Is there an opportunity you think that maybe it'd be a situation like that? Where you could
absolutely.
Try to keep him up?
Absolutely. Keep in mind that JT, before he broke out and became the player, he was very much a buy low. He's very sluggish before he ended up being, the JT that we all expected him to be and that he quickly became, and it was short-lived. But he was a guy you could definitely trade for on the low. People were excited about him. He wasn't quite producing. I remember his rookie year. There was a lot of time to buy him, and then he exploded and did well. But JT also had one of the, I would say, lesser number 1 overall fantasy football running back 1 performances. It was still number 1 for his year, but it wasn't like he blew away previous year number 1 running back. So there was a lot of question about him duplicating that season anyway. And he's a great running back. He's a great running back, but his system and his situation does not scream he's coming back, folks. He's going to be back to where he was. I fear there's too many moving parts, and liking him in round 2, I'm all for it. I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to draft him there, but if you expect JT to be back to his old self with a rookie quarterback, a quarterback that vultures, a new offense, still kind of trying to prove he can stay healthy and shake all what happened last year off his, plate, that's a lot of moving parts, bro. You know what? My phrase is always this, bro. I'll always tell you the same thing. If there are multiple red flags, it's better to not necessarily predict bust or step away entirely, but go with the player that's along parallel to that player that has no, 1 red flag, no red flags, that feels like they have the same amount of upside. You're telling me you can't find a player next to JT's ADP that doesn't feel safer with the same upside? It's probably very easy to say, why don't I just step into Garrett Wilson, who's there? Why don't I just step into Barkley, who's there? Those are, even with Barkley's semi-risky holdout situation, which I don't think is going to amount to anything. Barkley's smart. He's not going to sit out. That situation is much safer. I just don't think I'm going to draft JT. It doesn't mean he can't do well, but it's too risky for me. I'm not saying it won't work. I'm just saying for me, I'm sidestepping it. And I think it's smart. I think it's a smart play because of all the things I mapped out. It's not just one, bro. If he was returning to the same offense, it'd be one thing. But you might have changing quarterbacks. I think they start Anthony Richardson in week 1. I think that's just a facade. But you might have changing quarterbacks. You have a receiving room that needs to prove themselves. Can they even stretch the field? Is it going to be stacked boxes against both JT and Richardson? There are so many variables at play that are all moving, and they're all moving in kind of the wrong direction for JT to be his old self. That's all I'm saying, bro. Hang tight real quick. Bearded Steve has a $5 hauler. PPR, Lamar, Jamar, Olave, Sanders, Swift, Andrews, Mike, Evans, Dalvin, Addison, Tony, B. Cooks, Dotson, Algier, 224 first rounders, sitter trade. I mean, I'm always trying to move. I think your team's good enough to win now if you could turn Sanders and a first rounder into a Walker. You know, somehow get Charbonnet if you can. Turn Sanders and a first rounder into Bijan, into Jahmyr Gibbs. You know, like I would trade Sanders and both of the first rounders for Bijan. I would trade one first rounder and Sanders, and I don't know. I contemplate the other one for Gibbs, and then all of a sudden you're on the map, bro. But it depends on where those first rounders are. A lot of variables at play there. Bearded Steve, appreciate your super chat, my guy. All right, let's see. I got two Marsmen on the line. They jump ahead of everybody else. Rock Out and Ron Navy. Let's head over to Ron Navy. Then we'll go straight to Rock Out. Then we're going to go to Blake from Minnesota. Then we're going to go to Neil. So, Ron Navy, you're live. Marsman.
Both of those that have been, go, for me anyways, I don't know about Rock Out, but for me anyways, go to those guys that have been waiting. I'll wait. I don't care.
All right, Rock Out, can you tell me what's on your mind real quick, and then I'll jump over to Blake, who's been waiting a while. But Rock Out, you know, you got this card for a reason. Go ahead and use it real quick.
I was gonna say, check my DM once you get through everybody else.
Will do. Appreciate you. Rock Out, remind me if I forget, but hang tight. Blake from Minnesota, you are live on the show. And Dimitri, I hope this helped you. St. Brown is the guy I would take at that value. You said 8th round value for St. Brown, 13th for Burrow. If you think you can get Burrow back at like 4th or 5th round type of equivalent type value. If it's a 6 point per TD, and because it's a 10-man league and your quarterbacks are going to be plentiful, and I think you probably get Fields or Burrow or T-Law no matter what, and that St. Brown value is crazy. But if it's 6 points per TD pass, I would actually entertain Burrow over St. Brown if it's 6 points per TD scoring. So hopefully that helped you, Dimitri. Appreciate your super chat. Go ahead, Blake from Minnesota, my guy.
What's up, Schmitty?
What's up, man?
Can you talk me into drafting Drake London? Because I know a little bit about him, that he was a great rookie receiver. I'm just not quite sure what to think about him right now, just with Desmond Ritter and how it's sounding like they're going to run the ball with Bijan.
Let me put my Falcons hat on. Let's start there. Okay?
All
right, there we go. So what I'm going to tell you, bro, is that Drake London, and I think Ron Navy's probably with me on this one. As much as I love Christian Watson, as much as I love him, you know how much I love Christian Watson, bro, right?
Oh, yeah.
Drake London's probably a better wide receiver. Like, I mean, not even probably, he is. He if he had Jordan Love, and I think Love's better than Ritter, I think Ritter's still got a story to tell. Like, we cannot write Ritter off. He had a good college career, and maybe he turns into Goff or he turns into Danny Dimes and surprises everybody. So I'm not leaving no room for that. But if London was given an Aaron Rodgers, you know, like Garrett Wilson has, or even a Jordan Love, who I believe in, that's why I say that, or a Derek Carr like Olave was given. And keep in mind, a lot of these quarterbacks, or a lot of these receivers, these sophomores, we had them on the Moon Men list before any of them had their quarterbacks, and we were, you know, sweating bullets for that they were going to get the guys they needed. And Garrett Wilson got Aaron Rodgers. You know, Jordan Love, you know, ended up, you know, I think it's a good situation for Christian Watson. It was kind of like if Aaron Rodgers leaves, then Jordan Love and Christian Watson kind of gets in some people's mind, the raw end of the deal of the sophomore wide receivers. But quietly, I'm like, no, I kind of like this. Ritter is just very unproven, but these two guys have rapport, bro. Ritter didn't have an offseason to prepare as a starter, and he put London on a 1,300-yard pace for the 5 or so games that they played together. Now, the touchdowns weren't there, granted, but that is a product, I think, of Ritter not being fully immersed in the offense. not having total command of it yet, not being prepped all offseason long. And Bijan Robinson is going to open up the pass, just like the pass is going to help keep Bijan Robinson doing what he's doing. Because you could say as a defense, right, we're going to come in and scheme against Bijan because they drafted this guy in the top 10 overall. Everybody's talking his name, saying he's going to be the best running back in the league. Let's shut him down. You can't because Kyle Pitts is going to be healthy, and Ritter never got to play with him. So his offense was very much 1/3, 33% of what the capacity of the offense could be for Ritter. We haven't seen Ritter operate in 100% of his offense. We've seen Ritter operate unprepared in a 33% version of his offense. Now he has Kyle Pitts. He has London, who he had last year. He has the best running back in the National Football League in my assessment, and I'm allowed to make that assessment if I want. And he's got the number one rushing attack, the number one, I think, game planning, running, coaching staff and system in the National Football League. These guys know how to design running plays, and that is going to make it near impossible because of the scheming and the offensive-minded coaching staff that knows how to run this freaking football and do what they did pretty impressively. No one gives credit to the Falcons when they were literally riding a skeleton crew into each one of these games on Sundays and hanging with a lot of teams with some of the closest losses in the National Football League. You know, I mean, every game was really close. They lose the game by 3 or 4 or 5, 7 points. This Falcons team is going to be impressive. And the fact that you had London pulling in about 1,300 yard prorated numbers tells me that this is the season he drops at least 7, 8, 9 touchdowns in a 13, 14, 1,500 yard season. So it depends on where you're getting him, bro. It depends on where you have to draft him, Blake. If you're talking about 5th round value, I'm taking London in the 5th round like clockwork. And I never thought he'd fall there. The 4th and 5th round, he falls there. I'd say more of the 4th round, but he is falling there like clockwork in between that territory. I'm drafting right now in a draft where I took London as my 4th drafted player. I took Gibbs. I want to try a heavy running back situation. I went Gibbs. Let me see if I can find it. I went Gibbs. I'm sorry, Bijan, Barkley, Gibbs, London. And that team feels great. Like, I didn't go wide receiver until round 4, and I got Drake London, and I'm ecstatic about him being my number 1. So London has the potential to be a top 6 to 10 wide receiver this year. What are your concerns just around Ritter?
Yeah, that's pretty much mostly it. And just did they switch up their coaching at all?
Well, no. They added someone. Let me look at their staff changes here. But don't worry about Ritter, because Ritter has a pretty decent college track record. Hold on, Rockout's calling back in. Let me get him in here real quick. They got a pretty he has a pretty decent college track record. Ritter looks pretty nice, bro. Like, I'm not saying he looks amazing. He looks like he's gonna surprise some people. You know, I just give him.
I like London just as much as I like Olave.
Yeah,
he's a well-rounded receiver. In fact, London was doing had better actual stats stuff than both Garrett Wilson and Olave and those guys. I mean, he had coming out of college, so I think he's more well-rounded.
Did they add
needs either step up and be a better quarterback, or
yeah, I forget who I'm looking at. Was it the running backs coach? I forget who, but I mean, the thing is, like, Arthur Smith in his staff, no matter who it is, it's kind of like Shanahan's situation, you know, like the coaching tree and everything. Smith knows what he's doing, bro. He's such an amazing running, crafting architect, and the fact that Bijan walks into a offense that was literally number 2 in the National Football League in running the football last year, but number 1 if you take, you know, Hurts and the Eagles out of it because of Hurts' rushing. They're number 1 between the tackles, and Algier, I believe, was in the top 2 in the National Football League in the final 5 weeks of the season. And none of that should concern you in terms of like Algier. The point is, Algier is a good running back. He's not an elite running back. Algier's not an elite running back. We loved him. He was on the Moon Man. He's a good running back, a really good running back. They made him look better than good. He played great. He played elite. He played elite. He played elite in the final 5 games of the season. What do people think this specimen, this elite top 1 to 5, and even someone that doubts him a little bit, 1 to 5. He's top 1 to me, but 1 to 5 in almost anyone's eyes. What do people think is going to happen when this elite specimen gets in there and plays football behind a very underrated offensive line and a system that architected this Algier, who we loved, to be the top running back, top 1 or 2 running backs in the National Football League in the final 5 weeks of the season? So it's going to be glory, bro. Let me swing over to that was Blake. Blake, hang tight. You can ask another question anytime you want. Hold on. Let me go on over to looks like Logan. You've gone, right, Logan?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Okay, rock out. You're live, and then Terry Roberts, then Ron, or vice versa.
Oh yeah, I was reminding you about my IGDM.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's play rock. Rock out made a special rap for us, so we got to play this tune. And see what Rock Out delivered here.
This is like fantasy. We will make a memory, destroy every enemy, make them seem like a mini-me.
Thank you, Rock Out. I appreciate you. Rock Out's going to get raptured from the show. A record label's coming to take him, and we'll never see him again. Rock Out, remember us when you leave. Go ahead.
Yeah, Rock Out always dropping fire.
Terry Roberts, what do you got?
What's up? What's up?
What's up?
I have a couple questions on Cincinnati's roster, Smitty. I'm looking at the depth chart for the running backs, and Joe Mixon, I'm really scared for this year. I don't think he's going to have a good year, so I think this is the year to grab a couple of his running backs.
Yeah, absolutely.
This conversation probably a month ago, and I asked about Chase Brown, who I love, but the NBC depth chart has Chris Brown at the bottom.
No, he's second on ESPN. He's second. You know, like here's the thing: would Travion Williams start as the backup right out of the gate? Maybe, but don't let that influence you, because if Mixon's on the roster, he's getting a go. He's getting a crack at it. And it's going to take a little while for Mixon to lose his ground. And by that time, you've got to be predictive with the backup, right? You can't take who's the backup in week 1. You want who's the backup in week 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 when it matters.
Right. Okay. So you're looking at the whole picture throughout the whole season.
Yeah. Chase Brown predictively will be the backup whenever he's needed to come in there. I like him. But keep in mind that Mixon still has to restructure his contract or they're going to release him. And I know Mixon truthers hate to hear that. You know, tell me you're a Mixon dynasty owner without telling me you're a Mixon dynasty owner. Schmitty, he's not getting cut. Yeah, he could get cut at any moment. They tell him you're going to restructure and you're going to do it now. They're going to say, go get me a coffee. Chase Brown's going to say, give me a coffee. Give me a coffee, Mixon. That time's coming. But if they cut Mixon, guess what, though? They're going to bring in probably another running back. Zeke Elliott, a Fournette, Kareem Hunt, type of player. And, that shouldn't scare anybody necessarily away, because those players are no further along than Mixon. In fact, they're probably not even as good as Mixon right now. I'd venture to say Mixon's ahead of Zeke. I'd say Mixon's better than – maybe Fournette's about the same. And Dalvin Cook's better than all of them, so he would be the one concern. If Dalvin Cook landed in Cincy, huge injury risk, but per start, he would be the starter. So, Chase Brown's value is volatile. It's volatile based on the news and movement and directly related to Mixon either restructuring or getting cut. But if you think about it from Mixon's perspective, he'd have to be an idiot, and I'm not saying he isn't. He'd have to be an idiot to not say, okay, if I get released, what's my market value? And he might be oblivious to what his market value is, because all these players think that they're different. I'm special. Eckler thinks he can get a 3 or 4 year extension. He's not. He's 28 years old. Like his expectation was crazy. Like I understand running backs deserve to get paid, and what he did last year, he did. And remember what I said? The Chargers should give him a raise, not a new contract. Just say, here's what you did last year. Here's $5 million. Thank you for all you did, bro. Like, and what did they end up doing? They ended up doing that. They gave him an incentive, and it was very small, a very incentive-based like raise, kind of like reworking of his contract. But he's not getting a 3 or 4 year deal. It's crazy. But Mixon's mind, he's probably thinking to himself, I'm special, I'm different, I'm better than Cook. Everyone's going to see that. He might just say, release me then, and get no market like interest at all. But if he's smart, he's going to say to himself, what would I get out on the open market? And I probably wouldn't even be starting. I'd be fighting for a job. And can I get the Bengals to pay a little above that, and I keep my starting job? Can I get them to put incentives in because I'm starting? And if I believe in myself and they lower my contract down to what I still believe is better than I could get, and there's incentives and I believe in myself, here's where I'm going to stay. And I'm going to ball out. That's what he should do if he's smart about it. I just don't know what he's thinking, but that's what makes me think that he ultimately does not get cut. But bro, we've seen some crazy stuff happen over the last couple of years. Nothing would surprise me.
And then my next question before I get off is Miles Sanders. I love Miles this year and in Carolina. You know, I mean, he's going to get the ball like all the time.
Yeah, you know, God, I find myself saying like, why am I not higher on him? Should I be? This is one of those players where I feel like I'm not necessarily seeing it completely straight. And I don't know if I'm going to end up being right. My concerns are right. But like, I'm open-minded to saying that I don't know that, trust your gut on it. With Miles Sanders, I'm indifferent. I'm indifferent on him, and I don't love to sway people away or in favor of him, because I really honestly, he's one of those players that for some reason I'm doubting. I don't know that I should be, but I am. And I can't shake the inconsistency that he had, but he's in a new situation and they like him and they want him to be an every down back. But do I fear that at his size, with the inconsistency of the past, of that he's not bringing consistency to the table, am I tying injury risk to that too harshly? And I don't know. I can't envision him being a monster this year all year long. I don't know. Call it a gut instinct. That one's gut instinct. I'm staying away from him at cost, but I could understand you being into him, and I don't want to detour you away from it, because I don't really have much.
Probably a week ago, I picked him up in an Underdog draft, and I picked him up super late. So
yeah, I mean, in Underdog too, Terry. I mean, you could ball out, especially in the weeklies, bro. You pick him up in the weeklies. He has four. Yeah. He's capable of having those big games. So he has 4 monster games. You could win $20,000 in one of those weeks. So I'm all for it, bro. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty, and they got the new what is it? I keep forgetting if it's. Cool. I keep saying Poodle. Yeah, I keep saying puppy. 3. Poodle 3. The Poodle 3s are out. So that means tomorrow night we're drafting Poodle 3s after Panic Chamber. And you know who's in the Panic Chamber tomorrow night? Anybody that doesn't like Bijan. All right, Terry, you can hang tight or whatever. If you got to roll, no problem. Ron Navy.
Terry's the man.
Terry's the man with the plan.
Hey, Ron, what's up, man? How you been, man?
I'm hanging in there. I was eating earlier. Yeah. Maybe picked the perfect time to bring that caller on and ask about Addison and Cousins, because I was right in the middle of eating. I couldn't call in.
Right.
Terry's on patrol.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Terry, appreciate you. All right, Ron, go ahead.
So, yeah, I'm thinking, 99% of the fantasy creators are cut and paste last year's ADPs. They put the same old players in the same spot, not even realizing that every year, every team changes. Every team, they might move them around a spot or two, but there's 2 reasons. Either they're lazy or they're afraid to go against their consensus of the so-called consensus, and they don't put out any bold predictions. Now, how are you putting out content where you have no bold predictions that you give your fan and your group that are listening to you an opportunity to win a league? Well, you find the Fantasy Football Show and Smitty, because that's where you're going to get your bold takes, and that's where you're going to get your really good content. Last year, you smashed it with the running backs. I mean, they got injured. A few of them got injured, but if they wouldn't have got injured, you smashed it. You had, across the board. So this whole thing with all these cookie cutters, and they copy and paste their rankings, and they still put all these players way up in the rankings because they're afraid to change it. They're afraid to be bold. They're afraid to use their eyes, and they're afraid. Yes. Do you and me agree on every single player? No, we're not going to agree on every single player, but we all have bold takes, and that's what we need, because we got to have people to be able to take chances on that are going to be league winners, and that's pretty much what I called in for. Not about Cousins or Addison, because I do love your take, because the more you talk about Cousins and Addison and you don't like it so much, that's more for me to feast on. People are going to go away from them, so I get more of them.
Yeah, do it live. Do it live. Appreciate that, Ron. But yeah, look, and I got nothing against other, like, people DM me all the time with that stuff, like, hey, look at this, or this site's there, this channel's doing this. Like, I have zero time to watch other people. I only see people in scrolling fashion. That's literally, I can't watch sometimes I'll watch, like, I jumped into like a CBS show, in the comments, I do that every once in a while, or like I watch I watch ESPN. I take anything I can in terms of news that I can consume, but I don't have time to watch like other creators but I do know that sometimes
out.
Yeah, and
us, watching the shows, the fan base, and we take in a lot of content. So we know the difference between the content that's putting out. We know that we're in the right spot. Or we wouldn't be here, right? We know.
Well said, Ron. It's been 4 years for me.
We're anti cookie cutter paste, and there you go. And you update your rankings 365 days a year. They wait till right before the draft season and buy our rankings, buy our draft book,
my
buy
draft
this,
kit.
buy that.
Draft kits are for
so you got it available
amateurs
the whole year.
Yeah, draft kits are for amateurs. It's a 365 operation. Appreciate that, Ron. Okay, Scuba, toss out another. Unless Ron, you got another topic. You said that was all you're calling about mainly, but do you have another player or Scuba? Anybody want to toss out a player that we could all talk about and discuss? Javonte, we talked a lot about.
Talk some about Puka. You don't got to talk a lot about him, but he is getting traction.
Yeah, Puka. Who likes Puka? Anybody? Sounds like we're talking about like something you smoke.
Who's that?
Sounds like
Maybe I got Rams
rookie wide receiver. Yeah, he's definitely somebody to monitor. I'm sorry, who is talking?
You said. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, the other guy. What were you saying?
I just got one quick question for you right before I hop off. You don't got to explain it because I got like 2 minutes, but what are your favorite underdog over and unders for the year? I know you like Christian Watson and Drake London at 850 receiving yards over, but any other names?
Yeah, bro. Look, Breece Hall at 850. I think 850. Let me go in there and I'll put them on screen here. But some of these are absolutely amazing. And guys, go to Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. To do any of these, they'll match up to $100 in your first deposit. I pinned that link in the live chat. It's also in the description of every video. But if you go to Underdog Fantasy using promo code Smitty and you click on the pick'em, and you go to NFL season. If you go to NFL season, let me see if I can let me put this on screen here so it's a little easier to go through. But some of these pick'ems are just outrageously in our favor. And I always tell people that like we're gonna clean up in best ball. I have a feeling this community is going to just crush it in best ball this year. But where everybody can go in and just independently, not even have to play the odds against any other people. It's just you against the line. It's you against the line, and when the line is badly placed, the advantage is just unreal. So let me put this on screen here. Jalen Hurts 20. Look, they moved the line, and keep in mind that a line is designed in Vegas or on an app like this to move based on getting an even number of people on each side. Because Underdog's goal isn't to make money on you losing or trying to bet against you or something. They're essentially trying to get an even number of people on both sides of the high and low. And so they moved the line. So if 100,000 people go in tonight and put $5 on Hurts over 23.5 TDs, his line's going to move a dramatic amount to get another 100,000 people to go lower. And that way they get right in the middle, and then they take that 10% rake. All they care about is that 10% rake. So that line is moved, but it's still amazing. 23.5 TDs is really, really good. Lamar Jackson, I'm probably not going near this one because he's got so much risk to get hurt, in my opinion. Mac Jones, not going near that. Patrick Mahomes, those are really high and respectable numbers, so I'm not going near that. I would say Herbert, I'm staying away from. Fields, 6.5 rushing touchdowns feels like a cakewalk. 2,900 passing yards, I feel like, is a cakewalk. He's going to go over that. I think everybody they took away his rushing is 875. I'd go over on that. But I think people believe that Fields is not a pocket passer. And he is. He could easily throw for at some point, not this year because the offense is progressively getting better, but he could be a 3,800 yard, 4,000 yard passer. I don't understand why people think he's limited to like the 2000s, like 3,100 yards, 32. This guy, just because he ran for 1,100 yards last year, running for his life, that doesn't mean he doesn't want to be a pocket passer or doesn't have the college track record. Josh Allen, I think I stay away from all those, but maybe the 625 rushing, but maybe because he got hurt last year and I worry about him getting banged up, I'd probably just stay away from that one. Tua, I hate to say it, and this might even get to become a push, and then you get your money back because he might not last 5 games, and you have to play 5 games, 1 snap every one of the weeks for 5 weeks in order for the contest to be valid, I believe. I believe that's the number. It's in the rules, though. So Tua to throw for these numbers, I would take the lowers because I don't think he's going to last the year. Aaron Rodgers, I think he crushes 28.5 passing touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence, 26.5 TDs is my absolute favorite quarterback. Higher. I mean, this guy is going to throw for 30-plus touchdowns with ease. And so 26.5 is a cakewalk, in my opinion. Joe Burrow, 33.5 TDs. I think he crushes that. Jordan Love, I think, is going to go over on both his passing TDs and passing yardage at 21.5 passing TDs and 32.15 passing yards. Bijan's going to annihilate 8.5 rushing touchdowns and probably surpass 1075 on the ground by at least 13, or 300 yards. So he's going to have like 1,300, 1,400 yards in a worst case scenario. Breece Hall, 850 rushing yards. Come on. Dalvin Cook, as soon as Dalvin Cook doesn't land in New York, I bet you this line could change a little bit because people are going to rush in, I think, on that. But maybe not. I don't know what people are doing, sleeping on 850 yards. That is the one I probably just – I know there's the ACL concern and all that, but that's the one that I probably say I'm going to push in. If you're going to push in like $100 on something, $200 on something, like that's probably one I would push in on and just say, give me double my money. 850, like that's crazy. He could miss like 5 weeks, like start the year on the PUP, come in and run for 850. So that's the weird part about that one. Pacheco, 815 yards is a smash. 5.5 TDs is a smash. Both obviously these are all higher. All of these, what I'm saying is higher. This one also feels like maybe one that I would put like a big chunk on. I believe you need to do 2 of them though on these. So on one slip, you can't just do one. But $9.75, I think I have a couple like $50 or $100 slips that have Barkley higher than 975 and Breece Hall higher than 850. I think I have a couple of them with just those two on it. So if you go down here and you put down, let's say $100 on that, that pays you 300. You know, like I love that. I love that. That is a great one to me. Let's see here. Swift. I probably don't go near that one, but I do like the 567 rushing, but it's still close. 1,000 yards even for Kenneth Walker. I hit that on the high all day long. 7.5 touchdowns. I probably hit the higher on that. Jacobs, give me. Wow, they lowered his, I thought. I thought Jacobs had a lot higher number than 1075. I feel like they lowered that significantly. If I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure because I used to love the lower. Now I could see him getting a 1,075, but I used to hit the lower on that, so I'm not sure if that moved. Miles Sanders, I probably don't go near that for reasons I explained to Terry. Christian McCaffrey, as much as I cite risk, 6.5 rushing touchdowns seems very doable, very, very doable, even on half a year, you know. So I like that. Najee. 925 seems low, so I'd hit the higher on Najee. 925, that's really good. JT, not touching 1,200 yards, to be honest. I think he could go either way on that one. Tony Pollard feels like a pretty nice bet at 1025. Just over 1,000 yards. That feels really nice. Let's see here. There's a couple more really, really good ones. Khalil Herbert over 600 yards. I like that. Give me the higher. Jahmyr Gibbs, 580. This is the one of the best ones on the entire board here. 580 yards rushing. Give me the higher all day long on that one. Tyreek Hill. Again, guys, Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. That link is in the live chat if you want to do these. This is the way to crush it, because like this is not you against 300,000 people. This is you against a line that has been, in my opinion, wrongly placed in some of these players because they don't see things predictive like us. This is the weak spot. This is our way in to use our skill set of predicting what's going to unfold versus what happened last year. Like a lot of these lines are what happened last year. This is not what's going to happen. And I feel like these lines, if anything, we won't see quite as many questionable ones like the Christian Watson, the Breece Hall. I have a feeling they just would remove them, you know, walking into year two. But who knows? Maybe they don't. Maybe we'll always find amazing gems every single offseason. But now is the time to strike because they're all sitting there for the taking. And it feels like you can take destiny into your hands right now and not have to worry about playing against 300,000 people. You get to just go against this line. 850.5 receiving yards for Jahan Dotson. Are you out of your mind? 800. I'm sorry, 800. 800.5. 800.5. He has to get 801 yards receiving. St. Brown, 5 touchdowns. 5 touchdowns for St. Brown. I just did a video how I think he could be second in the entire National Football League in touchdowns, total touchdowns. He's going to catch over 10. Ridley, 855 yards.
They got Ridley for 855. Oh
850. Like, guys, your destiny is in your you have control of your own destiny on this app. I'm not saying he doesn't get hurt week one and you miss it. I'm not saying no one should be, no one should be dropping money they can't afford to lose. Okay, so understand that, responsibly, people, please. But I'm just saying, like Ridley, if he stays healthy, 855. I mean, that's gold. That's gold right there. That is one of my favorite ones of them all. Yeah.
Mark Cleveland's back. He's in the chat.
Mark Cleveland in the building.
What's up, Mark?
Mark Cleveland in the building. Mark, call in. The phone number's on screen, Mark. Mark, call in.
OG Mark Cleveland, guys.
We need Mark Cleveland in here. The phone number's on the screen. Mark, call in, please. We need some Mark Cleveland in our lives. Do you think anyone ever breaks Dickerson's rookie rushing record, 1808? If anybody's going to do it, it's Bijan, bro. I'll just tell you that. If anybody's going to break any record, it's Bijan. George Pickens, 775. That's a really good line. JJ's are respectable. I don't know that although I think $13.95 he crushes that receiving line, so I probably would take him on the higher if I had to like find something new that I haven't abused. Ron would love that 825 receiving yards on Addison, and because even I like it. I'd hit the higher on 825 because that's what he's going to definitely be.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to be in a better position to get, volume than a lot of the other rookies. So, I mean, 825 is if they eased him in, is what he'd probably get. So he's supposed to be off to the races from the get-go. So that shouldn't be a hard line. The touchdowns, I wouldn't touch the touchdowns because that's the part I don't know. 1140 receiving for Garrett Wilson. It's kind of a respectable, like higher line than these other guys have been getting, but I still think he crushes that. I'm looking for Mark Cleveland's call. I don't know if he's still on here. 650.5 receiving yards for Kadarius Tony. I love that higher. I mean, I smashed the hell out of that. And London 850.5. This is crazy. This is absolute madness. Higher on that all day long. Let me uncheck these so I can focus on one at a time. Look at that. London, 850.5 receiving yards. That is so crazy. Olave.
That's crazy.
Probably crushes that 1065. Waddle, I probably don't go near that, but the 1045s are definitely doable, but I don't know why I'm not going near that one. Jamar Chase, give me the higher on the 10 touchdowns. I think he could have 15 to 18 this year. Christian Watson, 850 receiving yards. Smash. Absolute crush, that one. Adams under 1325 receiving. I don't think he can get 1325, but a change in quarterback, something like that could definitely change the landscape for him. So just know that. That's kind of why I'd be tempted not to go near it. But 625 for Evan Ingram. 625. He's going to annihilate 625 receiving yards. That one's amazing. Zay Flowers, 599. He's going to get more than 599 receiving yards. That's a great one as well. Let's see here. Did Mark Cleveland respond? Ron, tell him I'm back. Ron, tell him I'm back. Cleveland, call in, bro.
Yeah, he's still there.
Call in, Mark.
Told him to call in.
Call in. I'm glad Mark Cleveland's back. That makes me happy. Okay, so those are the best ones. So I went through the entire a lot of them, bro. Those are the best ones. Who asked that question, by the way? Is he still here? He said he had to go. Okay, Matt Biaggia, you're live until Mark Cleveland calls, and then you're getting Mark Cleveland's coffee. You hear me, Biaggia? When Mark Cleveland calls, you're going to get him a coffee. Go ahead, Biaggia.
Hey, listen, I know I'm actually in on Bijan also.
You should.
But how good does Desmond Ritter actually have to be? Because looking at third-round picks for quarterbacks, since 2000, I've seen Russell Wilson, and maybe Matt Schaub. I have not seen any other quarterbacks drafted in the third round that have been even good.
Well,
but I still like Bijan, and I don't know how good he has to be.
Well, how good was Algier last year with Ritter? Number 1 in the NFL.
Who?
Algier. Algier was the number 1 or number 2, depending on scoring you look at. The scoring format you look at. Algier was the number 1 or number 2, or even in the craziest format, number 3 running back in the National Football League in the final 5 weeks of the season, which is when Ritter started. So, I mean, does that
you were just saying
well?
You thought he was going to be good, and I mean, I don't think he has to be that good for Bijan to be good.
But what I'm saying is, if you ask me how good does Ritter have to be, Ritter last year, unprepared, had Algier playing as a top 2-3 running back in the final 5 weeks of the season. So you ask me how good.
I'm not talking about the running backs. You were telling me to maybe that Ritter was going to be good.
Yeah, but your question
Not
was
the
how
quarterback.
good does Ritter have to be for Bijan to be good? Was that not your question?
No, it's more centered on the quarterback. I think Bijan can be good even if he's crap.
Am I wrong, guys? Did I get that wrong? Didn't he say that? Wasn't that what you were trying to say?
I may have phrased it wrong, Ron.
Yeah, you used it all, man.
Yeah, you're twisting it. You're sounding like the Matt Hatter who called in the other night. Yeah. So Matt Biaggia, what I said earlier, I stand by. I'm just going to repeat and regurgitate what I said a minute ago. But for you, Matt Biaggia, I'm going to do it. I think Ritter is getting discredited and written off before he has a chance to even do anything. Like, do I think he's a top 10 quarterback? Not really. Not really, but do I think he could be good enough to like be much better than he was last year, which is all we needed to be, because Ritter was good enough last year to have London on a top in a 1,300 yard pace. So London can be a 1,300 yard, probably 7 touchdown wide receiver with the way Ritter played last year. So adding Bijan to the offense makes Ritter better. Adding Kyle Pitts to the offense makes Ritter better. So at worst, Ritter is playing, I think, much better than he played last year when Algier was the number 1 or number 2 running back in the final 5 weeks of the season. So, hold on. Is this Mark?
I think Ritter will be better than Matthew Stafford for sure.
Well, yeah, Stafford might not even finish the season. Is this Mark Cleveland on the phone?
Yes, it is.
This is Mark Cleveland on the phone.
What's up, Mark? Hey, bud.
Marky Mark, so glad to hear you.
The call.
I'm so glad to hear your voice. I thought you left. I just didn't know what was going on. I know you probably take a break differently than other people, Mark, but so glad to hear you back in the groove here. What's been going on?
I just been working mostly. Don't have as good a help as I used to have, so I have to work more. So that's what that is.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but are you back? Are you back like for the long term, or are you kind of going to be spotty?
Yeah, I got to figure out how to draft and all of that.
Okay. Well, we got you here. By the way, Matt,
back in.
Hold on 1 second. Let me just talk to Matt Biaggia real quick. Go get Mark a coffee.
Yes, sir. Is that decaf, or do you want some kind of espresso? What do you want?
I want the strong caffeine in it.
Okay. Hey, Biaggia, hopefully that answered your question. Hang tight. I'll come back to you in a second. Mark, what's on your mind? What have you been dying to know about as you've been?
Well, I live over here in Georgia, and I just think they picked Bijan Robinson up early in the draft. He's going to use him 75-80% of the time. I mean, he's going to get a lot of swing passes, and they're going to run them to death.
Yeah, that's all true.
Stuck on the ride.
That's what I'm thinking, and I love Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson's going to be a beast. What other players are you questioning? You don't know their ADPs, where to draft them. You've been out of it for a while. You've been churning the corn out in the cornfields, or whatever the verbiage is that farmers use with corn.
Yep.
You've been out there doing hard work so that we can all eat. This man is a hero. This man is a superhero out there. As you've been doing all that, what's been on your mind? What player are you not aware of where they're going? And let's guide you. Let's guide the ship.
I don't know. I've been thinking about Jonathan Taylor and Robinson and all them, but I just think I have to go running back heavy in my draft because that's all they pick early. I want to go wide receiver and get them and take a chance on running back later.
Someone's on the clock. Barkley's a really good value, Mark, because he's going in round 2 in some cases. Bottom around 1. I like Barkley a lot. I think Jahmyr Gibbs, you need to make sure you're on top of that in round 3. Hopefully your league isn't listening right now, but he's a smash in round 3 if people are drafting RBs early. Bijan, number 1 running back. Mark, number 1 running back overall.
I have you on the phone when we start drafting.
Yeah, definitely.
That pick you gave me last year for the Eagles, what's the name? Wide receiver. Third round.
Devontae Smith. A.J. Brown.
Yeah, not Devontae. A.J. Brown. Yeah, I was about to pick Pittman, and you talked me out of it and picked Smith. Not Smith, but
A.J. Brown, yeah.
Name A.J. Brown, yeah.
Yeah.
That saved me right there.
Well, we got to get you a championship this year in your league. All right.
No, I'm due.
All right, Mark, hang tight.
I can't believe I've been out of it a little bit, and I can't even think of their names anymore, hardly.
Yeah. All right, Mark, hang tight there if you can stay on hold. And if you have a question, just chime in because I want to answer your questions here. Neil, you're live real quick. Don't keep Mark holding that long. Go ahead.
Hey, Smitty, what's going on?
What's up, Neil?
Hey, I just had a question. It seems like I get into like the third, fourth, fifth round of these redraft and dynasty drafts, really, and the wide receiver pool just seems to get really dried up. Like, I just don't feel great about any of them, like Deebo Samuel, Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, and I feel like I'm reaching a little bit for Christian Watson and Drake London in the third and fourth round. I know you probably don't feel that way. It feels that way, but I don't know if you have any insight on what you think. You know, Chris Godwin's another guy that's kind of there.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of hard to feel great about any of those guys.
Yeah, it feels like paper tiger territory for me too, but it's not it's not a dead zone, but it's just a very like propped up big name, territory. But my advice to you is if that's how you feel and you don't like the Londons and Watsons, which I do urge you to take those guys there, go wide receiver heavy, get Jahmyr Gibbs, get Kenneth Walker, get Fields, get Burrow. Use the third and fourth round to your advantage and draft around guys you do believe in and go wide receiver. That's a perfect approach for a person with your, concerns and maybe skill set, because everybody, you what?
Go ahead.
But everybody's different too, like when someone says go robust RB, no matter what, like what a dumb way to give someone advice. You don't even know if they're good at going robust RB. Like not everybody's great at every single strategy. Draft Kelsey early. Well, what if you're not good at drafting a tight end early? It takes a certain kind of like draft style to implement that and execute it. So like you need to know what your strengths are. To me, it sounds like you're going to walk. If I had to guess, bro, if I was a betting man on this topic, I would say if I was to tell you to trust some of these wide receivers that you don't trust, I almost guarantee you'd come out 8 times out of 10 not liking your team. And you'd be like, I kind of panicked here and I took this guy. If you go wide receiver, which don't force it, but best player available will most likely allow you to do it, to be honest, I have a feeling you're going to come out loving your team because you didn't like those wide receivers. Like if you get Gibbs and Walker and you get Charbonnet later, you get Pacheco later, you got like a running back stable of Gibbs, Walker, Pacheco, Charbonnet, and you got a Garrett Wilson and St. Brown and a Joe Burrow. You're gonna love life, or a Fields if you go Gibbs, and you can't get Burrow. I think you're gonna love your team.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing too, kind of like piggybacking on the conversation you were having earlier, I think the thing for everyone to kind of keep in mind is this is just like a risk proposition on all of these picks. Kind of back to your Jonathan Taylor conversation, like you're trying to eliminate as many variables in these situations as possible, and that's the way I try to approach it.
Hit that subscribe button if you're new, and wipe your feet at the door.
Hit that like. We got 200 people in here. Hit that like button. Yeah, everything's risk assessment, bro. Everything. And maybe and that's what's funny about like how angry we all get at each other sometimes is we all have a different assessment of risk. Like if I say don't draft a risky player, well, you might not see JT as a risky player. I might. You might not see this player as risky. I might. And that's where we're going to be right or wrong. I think avoiding a player you believe is risky is smart. It's just a matter of are you right or wrong on them being risky or not? Or maybe you're right. And in the case of like Derrick Henry last year, the odds were extremely against him at 28 years old, just like they're against Eckler. And so let's say there's a 20% chance in my mind that Henry was going to survive last year and not get hurt. Just because it happened doesn't mean that my percentage was wrong. It could have been wrong, but it just means that the odds were 25% in my mind. It still worked out. So he escaped and the odds were not in his favor and he still did it. Like it doesn't really change my thinking. A 28-year-old running back 9 times out of 10, or maybe even like, you could say 19 times out of 20, or even a higher number than that. 28-year-old running back that is thriving that enters that year will not do what Derrick Henry did 19 times out of 20, or if you want to say even 8 times out of 10, or if your assessments can be different than mine, but I'm not, just because Henry made it last year, I don't even feel like I missed on that because the players that I drafted around where Henry was going still smashed, so it's not like I just avoided that risk. I was wrong about him falling victim to it, but I'm not going to give Eckler like some crazy benefit of the doubt because Henry pulled through. Just like I'm not going to judge Bijan Robinson, or just like I didn't judge Breece Hall or Kenneth Walker because of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You know, like you got to look at everything independently, and it's all fantasy football is all a risk assessment at the end of the day, and we're all gonna have different, you know, assessments of it. That's the fun part. That's why we play the game.
Yeah. One last question. What's your thoughts on the Browns this year as far as fantasy wise? I feel like I'm just going to avoid on them altogether this year. Maybe Deshaun Watson. Like if I want to pick him late, if I'm not drafting quarterback early, maybe I take a flyer on him in a 1 QB league. But I feel like everybody else on that, I'm just kind of an avoid on.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, bro, my opinion evolves and changes. I wish it felt consistent, but it doesn't, and I admit that. Like sometimes I'm liking Nick Chubb in round 2. Other times I'm thinking, what am I doing? You know, this guy's got massive volume and big injury risk, but he's such a beast. His off-season workout videos can sway anybody. You know, just like when you see Derrick Henry doing push-ups with chains around his neck on rubber bands. But those videos are old. Like people put them out there like they're happening right now, and sometimes people are like, "You see Henry working out?" I'm like, "That's an old video from like 2 years ago." But either way. Those things can sway you, but the one thing that you can't avoid as a running back is father time. And sometimes people escape a year or two. Some people don't. I'm sorry, what was the question? I'm sidetracking myself out of you.
Just as far as who if you were
Cleveland.
Like,
Cleveland.
Anyone on the Browns at all this year.
Yeah. So I'd say Cleveland, I'm not going near anyone except for Chubb and Elijah Moore. And I like Elijah Moore as a surprise number 1 wide receiver from that Cleveland Brown roster. I'm not buying into Amari Cooper. You guys know I don't know why I'm so against Amari Cooper. Past failures, being inconsistent, failing me in the past. I mean, you name it. I mean, I have legitimate reasons because he has failed, you know, but he also is very good. He was very good last year. But I just don't trust him. Not where you got to draft him. 4th round, no thank you. Are Judy and Amari Cooper capable of earning 4th round value? Absolutely. But am I willing to take that risk when there are other safer players around? No, I'm not. Elijah Moore is going super late, and we got to keep in mind that Elijah Moore was thought. I don't know if you remember, if you guys watched my channel back when Elijah Moore was a rookie. But we talked him up as if he could be a top like 10, 12 wide receiver in the National Football League. He fell out of favor in New York. We thought maybe, Mike White getting in there would change, some things. And then he kind of fell out of favor even more. And it was like, we still don't really know the full extent of why all that went the way it went. But he's in a new situation now. We know the skill set was there and the cost is like, almost free. So that's why I like him. Relatively, speaking, it feels free. But Amari Cooper in the 4th round, give me Watson, give me London, give me Walker, give me Joe Burrow, give me Justin Fields in round 5 over Amari Cooper. If Amari Cooper slipped to me in round 5 and I'm on the clock, I take Fields over him. But it just feels like a better pick.
I'd rather have Jahan Dotson in the 6th than Amari Cooper in the 6th.
Yeah, and Chubb, I like Chubb.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I love that pick.
I love Chubb in the 2nd round, but like in one league out of like 10, like 10%. Yeah. I don't want more than 10% ownership of Chubb, but I do want 10%. Just like I want 10% ownership or 5 to 10% ownership of CMC, just because, in case he does have that one more year, but I don't want more than that. I just don't. It's just one of those players I feel like I want a share of. I'm not totally predicting bust, but I'm very, very concerned. Same thing with Cooper Kupp. I'm not necessarily predicting that he's going to absolutely bust and he's a total avoid, but I only want about 10%, 15% of Cooper Kupp in my leagues, maybe 10%, probably one out of every 10 leagues, because I fear Stafford. I love Stetson Bennett, which kind of almost rejuvenates my belief in Stafford's situation or in Cooper Kupp's situation if, let's say, Stetson Bennett gets in there, but I've got a lot of concerns about that Rams situation, and Cooper Kupp's 30 years old, and he's only got 2,000-yard seasons to his name, one of which was like 1,100 yards. So he has one monster season, one good, like it was a really good season. It was 1,100 yards, good touchdown production, but it was not number one in the NFL. He's at one season where he's the number one wide receiver, and last year he was on pace for being the number one wide receiver before he went down, but he didn't complete the season. So he still has the 1 year of being the elite electric Cooper Kupp that everybody says that's Cooper Kupp. He'll get his. Well, it's only been the 1 year. So, I have some concerns about, Chubb and Cooper Kupp, but I still want ownership enough of them that I want in. I just don't want all my teams tied to them. But Cleveland's a team. I don't like Njoku. I don't like Amari Cooper. I don't like Deshaun Watson when I can get Trevor Lawrence a round earlier, when I can get Justin Fields 2 rounds earlier. Sometimes Watson goes 3 rounds past Justin Fields or whatever, and I get that, but I'd rather have Fields and T-Law every time. I don't care if you're getting Watson 3 or 4 rounds later. I don't care. That value I'll get back if I flip that around and say, well, now I'm going to go after a wide receiver. I'll get a wide receiver when you're getting your quarterback, Deshaun Watson. I'm going to get Fields where you're getting your wide receiver, and my 2 players are going to outscore your 2 players.
I think I'd have Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson than Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. Mark Cleveland with a $10 holler right on screen. Great show, Smitty. Mark, are you still here? Mark Cleveland? Oh, I think he bailed. Okay, that's all right. Mark, appreciate you. Call in more often this year, please. And thank you for dropping the $10 holler. All right, hang on hold, callers. I'm going to go over to TJ. TJ, you're live.
Hey, Smitty. How's it going?
What's up, my guy?
Hey, so I know you just recently added Pacheco to your Moon Man. That's right.
Let's look at it. Hold on.
The Moon Man.
There it is.
Dropping loads in outer space.
Look at him.
Yeah, so
look at him.
I kind of wanted to gauge your dynasty perspective on him.
Okay.
I was going to trade Gabe Davis in the 3rd for Pacheco. Do you think I smash that or no?
Only if you like winning.
Okay, that's good. I do like winning, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what would be your hesitation? Because you're talking about a 3rd rounder, a 3rd round rookie pick? Like it's a 3rd round, really?
Yeah, like a future 3rd round.
I mean,
rookie,
bro,
yeah.
Pacheco. Even if you told me, hey, Smitty, I'm going to get 1 year out of Pacheco, and then he's never going to play in the NFL again, I would still do that. Like he's gonna have that good of a year, and you still got more guarantee than that. But try and get McKinnon, somehow, some way.
Okay, and McKinnon for like a 3rd or something? Or 4th?
Yeah, heck yeah, for sure.
Okay.
But by the way, I give a 2nd rounder for Pacheco. I give a 2nd rounder for McKinnon to lock this down if it's going to help you win money.
Okay, got you.
But that's me. I'm aggressive. Yeah, I'm aggressive with that stuff though. So if you can get away with more, try before you overpay or something, because I do get a little aggressive to lock that down. All right, appreciate you, man. You can hang on hold if you want, or call back in, whatever. Sick Nasty, you're live.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hey, I just wanted to run by this weekly draft, see what you thought about it. I just got done doing it.
Yeah, let me put it on the board here. Let's see here. Hold on, Sick Nasty. Sick Nasty, I'm so sorry. You're a Marsman card holder. You should have jumped to the front of the line. I promise you, next time that happens, I will rectify that. You secured this card for a reason, and I ignored that privilege, and I'm sorry. It's on me. I'll take a lap. Go hit me with your team. Let's give you some extra special treatment here.
All right, quarterbacks. I went Patrick Mahomes and Bryce Young. My running backs are Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, Alvin Kamara, Charbonnet, and Brian Robinson. My wide receivers are Christian Watson, Kadarius Tony, Jahan Dotson.
Hang tight real quick. My marker's either out or I just need to prime it again. 1 second. There we go. Okay, so Charbonnet, Kamara, Walker, Hall, those are your core running backs. Mahomes, Young. Okay, wide receivers are Watson, who?
Watson, Tony, Dotson, Jameson Williams, Jonathan Mingo, Marvin Mims, Josh Downs, Nathaniel Dell, and Terrence Marshall.
Okay.
tight ends are Travis Kelce,
Jeez.
Dalton Kincaid, and Cole Kmet.
Nice, bro. So I'll say, from the jump, I love the cuffing here of Mahomes and Kelce. I love the fact that you got Sharps and Walker. You've got potentially 2 top 10 running back combinations there. And then Kamara's like this wild card. I think Watson's a top 10 wide receiver. I think Tony could be a top 10 wide receiver, but obviously a huge question mark. I think Jamison Williams is a fantastic 4th wide receiver, so nice job. And Dotson's got that top 12 wide receiver appeal. So you got a very crafty, probably underrated, probably your wide receivers are weak, bro. Like comments everywhere if you were to show this to people. But just know that your receivers, you will live and die by your receivers, but it's a really nice bet across the board. I love Tony, bro. Tony is one of the most explosive wide receivers in the National Football League, getting the football at the line of scrimmage. I believe he scored on 4 of his 5 catches at the line or behind the line of scrimmage. I'll have to look at that number to see if that's the exact stat. But the guy is just Deebo Samuel effective, even though they played a little different. Obviously, they're different sizes. They're not the same type of player exactly, but he's just so electric. And you want an interesting stat that I think people don't realize about Kadarius Tony is Kadarius Tony was 2nd in the National Football League in targets per wide receiver route run in 2022. 2nd, behind only Devontae Adams, who will not be there this year. But Kelce was 27% targets per route run. In targets per route run, he was 27%. Tony was 29. Tony was higher than Kelce. So, I don't think people realize how much upside Tony has, but, there's obviously a lot of risk, but you're not having to pay that risk. This is very, very good value. So your little cuffing trio here is phenomenal. I think that's a really crafty. The only thing I'd love also would be Pacheco, but, weeklies are interesting because no one's ever played weeklies before. No one's ever played it out. This is the first year, so we don't even know if you can overstack on weeklies or if it's better to not completely overstack because honestly, maybe it's hard for all those guys to go off in the same week when you're trying to just go for it in 1 week. So maybe you got the perfect mix. I love the team.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I just wanted to get your take on it. This is the first time I did a heavy, top tight end type of weekly draft. So, first time I ever took Kelce and paired him with Mahomes. So, I just kind of wanted to get your take on it because it's the first time I ever did this style.
I like it, bro. All right, hang tight unless you want to jump off. But again, apologies for the delay. I'll look for you next time and I'll answer you quickly. Hang tight if you want. Ask a question if you got it. Let's go over to Anthony from Pittsburgh. Is that right, or is it Anthony?
You got it right, Anthony Smitty. What's going on?
What's up, Anthony? What's going on? What can I do for you? Hello?
Hey, that's my buddy's house. And we picked draft positions for our redraft league this year. And I came out with the 5 spot. And I was just sitting there thinking, what if I was wondering, what if worst case scenario happens? And, of course, Jefferson, Chase, and let's say Bijan go. Where are you going after Bijan's off the board?
Kelsey's gone?
In this league, it's weird. They eliminated tight end, so we don't have to start a tight end.
That makes it that takes away his top 5 value, in my opinion. I mean, he's still great, but it doesn't. So Bijan, JJ, I mean, that's where you got to entertain Kupp and say, Kupp or Hill, as much as there's some risk involved in those situations, they're still good bets in, like I said, 1 out of, let's say, 10 leagues. So that would be the league you roll with Kupp. But, trading down would be the better option for me because if you tell me, hey, Smitty, let's use a bad example. Let's use a very, very a deal you wouldn't even do, okay? So let's say in this first round slot, let me put Let me see if I can find Tyreek Hill somewhere in here. I think I've got Tyreek Hill on the screen. I'm not positive. Let me just use names instead of the faces then. Let me put them on here. Okay, so I don't know if you can see my screen. If not, you can rewatch the video and just hear me. But if Tyreek Hill is your number 1.5, let's say, and you told me, hey, Smitty, I'll give you 2 fourth-rounders for that number 5. That's not a very good deal. Like, you could definitely do better than that. 2 fourth-rounders for the number 5 overall. But look who you could get. Would you take Walker and Watson for Tyreek Hill? The answer is yes. You most likely would. Or if you don't like, Watson, insert a different player. Let's put Joe Burrow and Walker there. Would you take Joe Burrow and Walker for Tyreek Hill? The answer is absolutely yes. This is the one year that if I don't have Bijan, Jamar Chase, or JJ, I would rather trade down every single time. But the great part is Bijan most likely will be available to you through picks 1 through 6 or 7, like in a worst case scenario. So that's why I typically don't always trade down, because even at pick 5 or 6, I get Bijan, and I'm smiling about it. But if I'm in a redraft setting and Bijan, JJ, and Chase go 1, 2, and 3, I want out. I want out because these 2 players crush one player that's left over. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Can you trade?
Yeah, sure. So maybe I'll start looking into some trades, start putting out some feelers and talking to some people.
Yeah. All right, bro.
All right, thanks, sir.
All right, yeah, hang tight if you want. Let me go back to Ron Navy. Ron Navy, what else you got?
Hey, sorry, I was giving my dog her medication.
Oh yeah, the cat. I gotta do the cat in a minute. Hey, real quickly before you go, Ron. In this example that I just gave, who was that I was talking to? Anthony. This is a worst case scenario. Like, I want you to get more than this. I was just trying to overemphasize that trading down's amazing. You can definitely get like a Jahmyr Gibbs and Walker, or you could get a Joe Burrow and Jahmyr Gibbs. I was merely just pointing out in the worst of scenarios. So I just wanted to emphasize
Right.
that. Okay, go ahead, Ron.
No, I mean, it's been a good show tonight. I don't really got too much else to say.
I'll be live in Vegas on July 15, which is this coming Saturday. I'll be live in Vegas, actually Friday. I arrive Friday. I'll do my 7 p.m. Eastern show, which will be 4 p.m. Vegas time. I'll do that show per usual, and I'll do it from Vegas. I don't know if they're setting me up in a suite or a booth, or if I'm just going to be winging it from walking around. It depends how busy they are. They told me that the events are crazy, so they're working on it. But I don't mind walking around either. After that, I'm heading over to Bill the Tickler's restaurant. Miss Smitty and I are going to get a steak, a meal on the house, according to Bill the Tickler. We're getting 2 steaks, medium, because I don't want to mess up Miss Smitty's order. She's frantic that if I order mine medium rare, hers is going to be medium rare, mine's going to be medium. So I just, keep the missus happy. I'm like, just do 2 mediums. Let's just make it a little pink if you can, bro. I want it pink. I don't. 2 medium steaks, mashed potatoes. I told them no duck, no rattlesnake, no horse, whatever. He was asking me if I wanted duck. I don't want any of that. I just want a steak and mashed potatoes. I'll do some sort of, Instagram live stream from the location and show you guys my plate and whatever. So I'll be in Vegas on Friday. I'll do the live show at 4, 7 p.m. Eastern. I'll go to dinner, and then I'm going to do the Friday night show walking around Vegas per usual. It could be a little after midnight Eastern, though. And then Saturday morning, I'm live from 9 a.m. Vegas time, so noon Eastern, for about, 4 to 6 hours straight. Then I go to dinner with Miss Smitty. We do whatever. And then I go live again per usual Saturday night, walking around Vegas. And then Sunday, I drive home, and we'll be home. I don't know what I'm going to do Sunday. I might take Sunday easy, but that's the schedule. And so if anybody can't meet me out at Circa Las Vegas Casino Stadium Swim for the Saturday live stream, anybody that's around that area, Denny's supposed to fly in. I think Scared Scott was going to If he's not too petrified, I guess head over there. I don't know how that's going to work. But a lot of people are going to try and meet over there. If you can't, just watch it. We'll be live. It'll be per usual. We'll just be from Vegas. So it'll be a good time.
Hey, the Underdog.
Just be careful. It ought to be fire this year, Smitty, because, the World Series of Poker is also going on. So, you're going to be busy over there for a couple of days. It'll be fun.
All right. What'd you say, Ron?
Said these poodles are filling up fast. It's almost it's getting up close to 11,000. So you might want to go in and get yourself some slow drafts before it's going to fill up fast.
Yeah, I jumped
it
in
might
a bunch.
be only open for like 3 days.
I jumped in a bunch of slows. We'll probably definitely do. I think we'll get to it tomorrow. We'll get to it tomorrow. But here's here I'm on the clock in a couple of them. Let me go to my teams. So here's the pool.
Hey, did you do any of the home run derby pick'ems?
No. I usually don't do anything other than. So here I'm on the clock here. Travis Kelce, Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson. You guys want to see me put my money where my mouth is? And I could go Kelce here because that's a good approach with any draft. But I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm on the clock. It's 1.5. McCaffrey's on the board. People say, Smitty, you wouldn't actually do it. I know you. Here you go. McCaffrey's on the board. 1.5 overall on the clock. Give me Bijan. Bijan Robinson is now on my team. He is now the Fantasy Football Show member. Let me go back to this draft. I still got a slow palm going here. The slow palm is in round 8. This is my team right here. Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, Bijan, Kenneth Walker, Pacheco, Ridley, Dotson. I like that squad. I'm on the clock there. Let's go over to this weekly winner team. Weekly winner, slow draft in round number 3. I got Bijan and Olave so far. Do I go Joe Burrow? Do I go Ridley, Debo? I don't really want to go any of these players. Joe Burrow by far is the best player available to me. I don't want T. Higgins here. I don't want Derrick. Derrick Henry's not bad here, but I'm going to go Joe Burrow because looking down this list, it's Burrow and Fields are the best values on the board. ETN's a little bit lower. I like ETN, but he's about 15 players down. I've got a little ways, but at 44 is my next draft selection. I'm going to go Joe Burrow here, and I'm going to pair up Joe Burrow and Bijan and Olave. So that's a traditional start for me. I love it. Pomeranian. Here we go. Pomeranian. This is in round 8. I've got Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence. Oh, I just went over that one. Okay. Poodle. Here's a Poodle. Poodle draft. On the clock. This is a slow one. At number 11. So it looks like Garrett Wilson just went. A.J. Brown went before that. Bijan Robinson went before that. So I've got to pick between St. Brown, Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, Adams. A lot of you say, Smitty, when you're on the clock, you don't really go St. Brown over Diggs, do you? Watch me. Right there. Boom. Done. You guys can do it too. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. They'll match up to $100 on your first deposit. So get on over there. And the link is pinned in the live chat. It's in the description of every video. And drafting on Underdog is absolutely fantastic. And the Poodles, like Ron said, are going to fill pretty quickly. And if you go to the main lobby and you see these cards right here, the first one's baseball. The second one's weekly winners. That's amazing. It's my favorite contest Underdog's ever done. It's $15. You draft a team one time, and you got to think ahead because you only get one shot to draft the team. There's no waivers. There's no trading. There's no ad drops, nothing. No lineups. They set the lineup for you based on optimal scoring. But you draft once, and every single week, they pay the highest scoring team in that one compartmentalized week. It has nothing to do with any other weeks involved at all. No week is tied to the next week at all. In week 1, the highest scoring team of the team you drafted in one sitting wins $20K. Second place team wins $10K. Third place, 9, then 8, then 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. 11th through 20th gets $1,000. 21st through 50th gets $450, and so on. And then in week 2, same prizes. Whoever wins week 2, independent from week 1, independent from weeks 3 through 17, Whoever wins every single week, it's $20,000 based on your one team you draft. That's the best contest, weekly winners. And I got an update from Underdog on Android. The update is I have no update other than the most recommended thing that they're telling me to tell everybody that has Android is join the draft on your phone, or I'm sorry, on desktop, and then you can continue the draft on your phone. So that is the best solution. So you can join a weeklies. If you click weeklies on desktop, join the slow 8-hour one. And then when you go back to your phone, it'll be sitting there for you. So that's the best advice I can give anybody on Android. Go on desktop, join a weeklies, go back to your phone and draft slow. And that's the way you can enjoy those. Best Ball Mania will be the third card. The Poodle 3 is what Ron was just talking about. Look at that green indicator right above the $7. Right on this line right here. That green indicator shows that it's about, I'd say like 25% almost full. So that means that tomorrow will be probably above 50 and breaching 75% full maybe. But if you click on the Poodle and you look at the prizes, they have the 8-hour slow timer. They have the 30-second draft. For $60,000 to first place at week 17's end. And do they have any weeklies? No, they don't. The thing I love about the Best Ball Mania this year is that they have this tournament prize breakdown for the week 17 winner, $3 million. This is $25 an entry, $3 million to the first place prize winner. Second place gets $1 million. But what's great about this is the regular season prizes. If you're number one at week 13's end, right? 14, 15, no, 15, week 14's end. Week 14's end. You win $500K. If you're the highest scoring team, I believe is the way they're calculating that, the highest scoring team out of everyone in the contest at week 14's end, you win $500K. So that's the best addition they could have ever added to this, because how many times have you had a killer team that you felt was the best, and then for whatever reason, injury strike or whatever, this is a way, in the first place prize winner of this can still win the ultimate prize. So it's a great way to reward somebody for having a great year up until the playoffs. So join those. And then of course the pick'ems, as we went over earlier, you go to the home pick'em tab, you'll see baseball's like kind of in the forefront here. But if you click on NFL season, which is this little circle right here, NFL season, you'll see all those higher lows that we were talking about, which are smashes. So go check that out. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty will get you up to $100 on your first deposit. Let me cycle everybody off the phone line. I'm going to go eat here, and then I may or may not be back later tonight. If I am, it'll probably be some breaking news or some kind of Dynasty video. So if you guys are not following me on the Dynasty channel, make sure you get on over there. Here's the link to the Dynasty channel right here. Dropping it now. Mark Cleveland, again, thank you for that super chat you dropped earlier. And do I have any other super chats that I haven't got to yet? It looks like Nick dropped. I'm sorry, Nick. God, how did these slip in here? I could have swore I was on top of this. Russian collusion. Bearded Steve. What is going on here? I think I got to restart my
system. Not catching your
I don't know. I think I have to restart it or something. Do you think anyone breaks Dickerson's record? I got that one. Sick Nasty. Main reason I love this show is because Smitty's not scared to swim upstream. Yeah, when everyone goes with the flow. Appreciate you, Sick Nasty. Hopefully Sick Nasty is still hearing me on that one. Blackbeard, appreciate you. I did get or Bearded Steve, I did get your comment. It was Russian collusion. Collusion, are you still here? Hopefully collusion is still here. Mark Cleveland, appreciate your $9.99 holler. And then Neil, are you still here? Hopefully Neil and collusion are still here. Those are the two that I missed. Smitty, is there a reason Bijan is dropping in the draft? I have completed 3 drafts tonight, and he has went 12 in all 3 of them, and I took him twice. If I had to guess, bro, there's just a lot of people like me creating content, and we had evidence of this earlier. Somebody sent me a DMs of, different things people are saying, but I think the overemphasis by a few people that are on board the Bijan train are having other content creators create negative things about maybe you're drafting him at his ceiling as if he has a ceiling. He's like Tomlinson. There's no ceiling. You get him as your running back. You might get value that exceeds 2 first-round picks. Like if you were looking at, trying to acquire him next year, that someone would say, hey, what do you want for the 1.1? I want your 2nd, 3rd, and 4th rounder, or I'm not giving up Bijan. That's how good Bijan can be. But I think there's a lot of anti-Bijan people right now, a lot of anti-Bijan content creators at the current moment that are trying to go ride this let me be different, wave, because they missed out on being on the correct wave, which was that Bijan's going to crush. That wave is the correct wave. And so I think that's probably what's driving it, if I had to guess. But other than that, I don't really know. People get scared. Neil with a $20 hauler. Neil, are you still here? Does anybody see if Neil's in the chat?
Alert. Super chat alert. Alert. Super chat alert.
Collusion, where are you? I hope Collusion didn't leave. I hope Neil didn't leave. I don't know how I missed it. I think I need to restart my system. But anyway, let's go over to Scuba Steve. Final thoughts, Scuba.
Hey, Smitty, earlier you were asking about some players to bring up. So what's your thoughts on Donovan Peoples-Jones? He was a guy that kind of towards the end of the season, he was breaking out. And it looked like he had some type of chemistry with Deshaun Watson. Do you think that'll carry over into next season? And is he somebody that you want, or is he somebody that you just want to avoid?
Yeah, I'm not going near him. Is it possible he does something? Sure, but the emergence of, or the acquisition of Elijah Moore makes me feel like that ship has sailed for me. But could an injury open that door again for him? Sure, but I'm staying away. I'm not interested. But it's not a bad player to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, didn't know how you felt about him because like I was saying, the guy did break out. It was like him, and I know Njoku for a little bit too. Those are 2 guys that were breaking out. But for Njoku, the problem with him is it's been for a while that he just can't really stay on the field.
Yeah. I'm not too interested in Peoples-Jones, but I get it, bro. All right. Hey, anything else? All right, Scuba. We'll see you later, pal.
Yeah, no problem, man. Are you gonna do a draft tonight? I'll try to call in and try to bring up more conversations to you later.
Yeah, not sure.
All right.
I'll keep you posted. Usually I don't on Mondays and Wednesdays, but you never know, bro.
All right, man. You have a good night.
Later. So what's Cloudy saying? Why do you all not think it's going to be a committee in Atlanta? I don't know. This is the same, no offense, Cloudy, but this is the same, where are you even getting this? You have to have seen it somewhere. You can't just come up with this on your own. I appreciate you, Cloudy. I'm not trying to go at you, but what makes anybody think Bijan Robinson's getting taken in the top 10 and is being touted by his team is we're moving him all over the field. You're hearing Smith, we're moving him all over the field. Not to mention they're going to run 7,000 times this season. So, do you really think that Algier's not going to get enough volume that, he's going to wet his beak but not even dent the 300-plus attempts that Bijan's going to get? It doesn't even make sense. I don't even know why people are creating content on this at all. And, Cloudy, I think it's just clouding up your judgment. And it's not your fault, Cloudy. You're absorbing these other content creators that are it's going to be a committee. Algier's not just going to go away. You know what I'm saying? Algier doesn't need to go away. Algier is a very focal part of keeping Bijan healthy. And we want him there. But it's just, I don't even understand how, does anybody say that about Tomlinson? Does anybody say that about Tom? Did anybody say, hey, Marshall Faulk's going to lose all of his touches because they got a backup? What makes you think they're not going to have a running back by committee because there's a backup running back on the roster? Bijan Robinson tells Algier to carry his water and get him a coffee. And do it now. And do it now is what Bijan's going to say. He's very polite, though. Very, very well-mannered man.
Yeah, I was gonna say Bijan wouldn't do that.
Give me a coffee, please.
Smitty would do that, but Bijan's too humble.
Give me a coffee, please. Thank you. Yeah, Bijan would probably go get him a coffee and just say, "This is my coffee, and I got it for you."
Yeah.
All right. Let's Terry Roberts. Final thoughts. Where's Neil? Where's Collusion?
Hey, I have a quick question. If Casey picks up Hawkins, does Tony's value change in your eyes?
Yes. Yeah. If KC picks up DeAndre Hopkins, if Buffalo Bills pick up DeAndre Hopkins, a lot of scenarios that could unfold that are going to have us getting to this table right here and having a big, healthy discussion about what happens to Kincaid now, what happens to Kadarius Tony, what happens to I don't know. The Falcons were smart enough. I'm sorry, the Falcons. Any team really, but the Eagles were smart enough to say, I don't care if we're crowding up the wide receiver room. Let's just go after KC, and we're going after it this way. Collusion, appreciate your super chat. I'm sorry I didn't see it till now. My system needs to be restarted. Did you hear my response, Collusion? Your question was, Smitty, is there a reason Bijan has been dropping? And I don't know if you heard my response, but I think there's a lot of content creators creating negative anti-Bijan. Everyone's going too high. A lot of people get uncomfortable when there's a trend and they like to buck the trend. And the trend is starting to become Bijan like we predicted it would be. And I think these content creators want to make a splash, get clicks, get views, and at the expense of the reputation, because you go against Bijan, you're going against fire. And Bijan is absolute fire. So that's what I said, Collusion. Hopefully you heard me on that. Thank you so much. Neil, I need to know if Neil's here. I need to know. Hold on. We got a 972 caller. You're live, 972 caller. (972) caller, you're live.
Okay, I had a quick question, man. Right now, I'm at third pick in my fantasy football draft, and one of my friends offered me a trade to trade. Essentially, I'd be trading back. I'd be trading up to get the number one pick, and with that, I'd be swapping the second round pick, my second round pick, which he picks late because he's the first pick. I'd be swapping my second round pick and my fourth round.
Hey,
pick.
what's your name first of all?
Mike.
Mike. Okay, thanks, Mike. Where are you calling from, Mike?
My bad. What do you mean?
What state? I'm just trying to put you in my system here.
Texas. Houston.
Houston, okay. Mike from Houston. Thank you, Mike from Houston, for your question. So you'd be going from 3 to 1, but you'd have to give up your. So where are you moving your second rounder to? From what to what?
So my second round pick. 1 second. I had it in my notes. So with my second round pick, I'm moving from the 14th pick to the 16th pick because we have an 18 league, and then we'd actually be doing 6 round.
14. I'm sorry, 14 to 18.
Yeah, 14 to 16.
14 to 16. That's not a bad drop, but.
And then we're also doing 6 because he picks late in the 6th round too.
Okay, 6 round swap. Okay. What's your objective? Do you want JJ or Chase or because the thing is, like at 1.3, like you're gonna get Bijan, right? So that's great if you want to go RB. But if you like want to go wide receiver very badly for reasons that some of us don't know, like your league's 3 wide receivers mandatory, it's 2 running backs. Running backs always fall. You get crushed normally if you don't get wide receiver, like Chase or whatever. Then that's just the nature of your league. Like those things matter, the details matter, but I very, very much don't mind those move downs. Those aren't bad at all. But I also like Bijan at 3. I like, whatever you do at 3. Kelsey at 3 is even fine, But I don't mind Bijan. Is it 1 point per reception, or is it half, or is it non-PPR?
It's full PPR.
Okay. Yeah. Chase at 1's nice, but I don't know that I need to do that. Honestly, I'm okay with Bijan. I'm okay with maybe Chase falls. Bro, what if you're sitting there on the clock, JJ goes 1, McCaffrey goes 2, and Chase falls to 3. I would just stay put. I'd stay put. I don't need it.
Because we kind of have because we kind of know, because we talk to each other, like we kind of know that the first 2 picks is like going to be JJ and Jamar, but I guess the first guy he really doesn't want Jay Jettas like that. So I was thinking like maybe I just trade up. You know.
Hey, hold on 1 second, guys. I'm going to put the phone line on mute. You guys can talk to each other, but the show won't be able to hear you. And I got to go give the cat his injection real quick. So I'll be on hold. Neil's calling in. Hold on. Hey, Neil, appreciate your super chat. Did you get my response?
I did not, but no worries, man. Great show.
Yeah, hey, I'm so sorry about the delay. Hang tight real quick. I got to go give the cat his insulin injection because Miss Smitty's going to kill me at 6:43. I got to give it to him at 6:30 sharp. I'm 13 minutes late. I'm going to put the chat on hold. You guys can talk amongst each other. The show won't hear you, and I'll be right back. So hang tight if you're watching. It'll take me like maybe a minute and a half. All right, hold on. All right, hey, real quick, guys, hold on 1 second. Okay, we're back live. I'm sorry I had to give the cat an injection. Neil, thank you for the super chat, my guy. What can I help you with? And actually, let me respond to your your super chat here. Neil gave a super chat. Oh, he didn't say anything. He just dropped a $20 hauler. Neil, we're doing a super chat celebration for you, pal.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Neil, what can I help you with? Thank you for the $20 gracious super chat of yours.
No worries, man. It was just for letting me on your show earlier. So
Yeah. Well, what can I do for you? What else you got? And thank you, Collusion.
I don't think anything right now. I don't know if you have any thoughts on what your thoughts are on the Steelers next year. I know Ron Navy's probably got some opinions on them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Steelers are kind of one of those, like, and Ron, don't take this the wrong way because I'm trying to give the Steelers a compliment at the same time. It's like an underhanded compliment, I guess, but I think they're not going to be an exciting team. Like, from an offensive perspective, they're going to be crafty. You know, I think they're going to be crafty because I think they're going to be one of those teams that, like, they beat you obviously with defense, they beat you with coaching, they beat you with, like, finesse potentially. And I think a lot of things come together. So it's going to be a good year for Ron. I think he's going to watch the Steelers play tough football. But are they going to be a team that is exciting and as electric as, like, you know, the Bengals or something? No, but could let's say one of the wide receivers, and I think it would be Pickens, still have a 1,200, 1,300 yards, 7, 8, 9 touchdown season? Yeah, and that would be exciting. And I think Ron has even said this before. Pickett is not going to be a top, like, 8 quarterback, top 7 quarterback. He's not somebody you start in fantasy, but is he going to surprise people, march his team down and win some games? I think it's certainly possible. And Najee's the real monster here, and I like Pickens too, but that he either bounces back hardcore or he flops hardcore. I kind of feel like it's going to be one or the other. I'm cautious enough not to make him a second rounder out of the fear of what we saw happen last year, but I love him in round 4 because I can consider that it was a Liz Frank injury. It was a bad offensive line that was, you know, banged up. The defense was banged up. There are a lot of reasons why things unraveled in Pittsburgh. So Najee's going to be a curious case this year, and he's either going to let people down hardcore or he's going to win leagues. So I like him in round 4. I feel like that's a real good territory to buy him. So from a fantasy perspective, I love Najee in 4. I love Pickens as my 3rd wide receiver. I get him a lot as a 3rd wide receiver. Absolutely thrilled about those 2 players. Do I like Deontay? No, probably never will. I don't believe in Deontay. I don't think he's going to have as big of a bounce back year as everybody else does. I love Darnell Washington if he gets into the lineup or gets used in a weird way. Freiermuth I like a lot, but if Freiermuth were to go down, Darnell Washington would do really well. I'm not a big Jaylen Warren guy, like standalone, grab him and hold him. But, yeah, so from a fantasy perspective, Pickens and Najee are the only guys I'm, like, really going after. But I do think there's a lot of upside. You know, there's a lot of potential to score for both those guys. Najee, 10, 12 touchdowns. Pickens, 7, 8, 9. I think it's very, very possible. Collusion said, Nurse Smitty calling. Nurse Smitty. Yeah, I gave the cat his injection. I'm going to be good to go. Miss Smitty can walk in at any moment. I don't think she watches the show ever. She only hears me, and she'll send me a swear text message here and there, like F Scott, when Scott's like, hey, I'll take you to the Bunny Ranch, Smitty, when we get to Vegas. Within 30 seconds, F Scott, she sent me a message. Only she didn't say F. So she was like, fuck Scott, basically. Okay, just going to say it. So Scott's in Miss Smitty's doghouse. She hears everything, and she can't stand that she hears everything. And she'd probably recognize every single one of you by voice if she ever ran into you. But I don't think she watches the show, and I don't think she has any idea that we're cutting it close on the cat. But the cat's done. She walks in, the cat's done. Hey, is the cat done? Yeah, cat's done. Cat's done. He's alive. I don't know why it's so vital he gets it at 6:30 and he can't get it at 6:45, but apparently Miss Smitty's really, really strict with it. So that's that.
Well, that's because their blood sugar levels fluctuate, and they fluctuate so much. If they don't have their insulin, then their blood sugar go out of whack really quick. And it's the same with humans. If you don't have your insulin when you need your insulin, if you're insulin dependent, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Well, we got him done. He's good. He's trucking. She came home at like 7:15 one time, and it wasn't done, and she's like, okay, what do I need to do to change this? Do I need to take him to work every day? Like what? I'm like, I got it. I'm sorry. So if I guess I just, maybe I'll have a little scene that I punch, because I have a feeling during the year, during the football season, there's no way I'm going to be done in time. We're going to go over 2.5 hours a lot. And especially with the time zone change for me, 7 p.m. Eastern is 4 p.m. right now. It turns into 5 p.m. for me. Yeah, so it'll be 2.5 hours. Yeah, it'll be tough for me to give that cat injection and be done with the show. So I'm gonna have to hit the button, and maybe I race for it. We'll see if Smitty can beat his time each time. We'll time it and then see if the next time I can. I don't know. All right.
Just bring the cat to the studio.
No hair everywhere. Hell no. He's not allowed in here. If I see him in here, I start slamming my feet on the ground to get him out. Get out of here. No cats allowed. He ain't allowed in here. The only thing I'd allow in here is maybe Miss Smitty's wants to get another dog, because our dog Dodger. I don't think you were around, Ron, but Dodger the dog. He was a big part of the show, not on the YouTube channel, but on the Instagram. When he passed, we haven't replaced him, and I want something that doesn't shed. So she likes Pomeranians, and I had a Pomeranian once. He's a little dog. He's kind of he's not really a dude's dog. But he was so cool. He could just sit right on the counter, or on the table here. So maybe we get a little Pom.
Pomeranian.
Yeah,
my dog's a Pomeranian.
They're cute. They're cute. I love them. I know that most people don't, think that. I love Poms. They're great. And Pomeranian draft on Underdog. It's fitting.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't like cats. I don't like cats, and he's a rescue cat. So.
You don't like cats because they don't listen. They're independent.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big cat guy. Dogs are the best. All right, let's see here. Let's get everyone off the phone line here. Bijan, final thoughts.
I would like to echo Ron Navy's thoughts of bold predictions, and that's what I'm looking for. I watch a lot of content, and I want people to put themselves out there, and I think you do that. And Priest Holmes, I know you talked about him and how you liked him, and I want content that is going to tell me this is a breakout player. Go get him. You can get him, undervalued. Great show.
That's why I love, Bijan. That's why I love this series right on screen here. The 4 best picks in 2023. I think this will be like the bold predictions have become on my site, or the Moon Men and Mars Men have become on the show. I think this right here will be one of the favorites that people look forward to, because it's limited, it's special. It's there's 4 players who are my 4 identified best picks in 2023, 2024, 2025, and this is where the value is screaming to me. And I love even Bijan at 1, 2, 3, or 4 overall. I can't really put it in this category, but I want to, and I want people to know that I really feel that way. I think Bijan at number 2, 3, 4 overall is one of the best picks in fantasy football. So, Bijan, appreciate you. John says, wipe your feet. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. Call me John in the chat. Paul says, silence. Stay true to yourself. I was forced to take my grandma's cat when she passed away. Cats are dicks, says Travis Rowe. Cats are. I'll be petting this guy. This cat here that he's become part of the family. Okay, so I accept him, but I'm petting him, and he's great, he's fine. And it literally a minute will go by, and he'll just scratch the hell out of me when he's done with me petting him. It's what the hell is going on? It's I'm not even doing anything. I'm being very kind to him and petting him, and he's purring.
That's your reward.
And then he's done. He just scratches you. Get out of here. Love that, Isaac. What's Montgomery's ADP? I don't love Montgomery's ADP as much as everybody else, but I don't hate it either. It's kind of in between for me. All right, Josh, final thoughts. Josh, what can I do for you? Hello? Terry Roberts with a $10 hauler. Gift pal. Hope this helps. Thank you.
To the moon.
I said Terry on a lap.
Hey, Terry.
holler and you get to go on a lap at the same time.
Hey, thanks for the $10 holler.
And off he goes.
Planet Uranus.
Known as
I'm sorry, Terry. I meant to hit the moon button. Terry.
To the moon.
Appreciate you. Take a lap, too. Terry says, Vegas gift, pal. Hope this helps. Thank you, Terry. You were the man. Terry Roberts on patrol. Appreciate you calling in, too. All right. What's his name? Hung up. Ron, any final thoughts, bro?
No, I think that was a fun show.
All right. Well, we'll see you.
That was fun.
We'll maybe see you tonight. I'm not sure what I'm doing, but all right, later on.
All right, later, Smitty. Later, chat.
Yeah. So, man, I mean, this is an interesting show. Like, let's just be real. Not everybody's going to be on board Bijan being the running back one, but and this isn't new. Like, I know some people are going to say, Smitty, this is a bold take, and you're hearing somebody else maybe whispering that this could be potentially, and then you got what's his name, Okafor, saying you're wilding again. Well, thanks for putting your receipt on screen, though, Okafor, that you don't believe in Bijan. You don't believe in Bijan, and for that reason, I'm taking away.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
No, you can't come in here now. You cannot. I don't care if you're joking. You did this in all capital letters. You are wilding again, Smitty, based on this video. You said this at the very onset of the video. You no longer have a Bijan card. You can't get it back. You can't claim you like him. You can't say I like him, but it's a wild take. Those things don't go hand.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
So your Bijan card has been revoked, young man. You don't get it back. You're not getting back on the train. No one's going to let you on. You're gone. You're gone from the Bijan train, okay? Amon Ra, solid third-round pick. Yeah, silence in fairy tale land, though. He's not going in the third round ever. He's going at like the 12-13 turn, unless you're playing with grandma. And in that case, you are cleaning up, my guy, if you're getting St. Brown in the third round. I've never seen him in the late second before, let alone the third round. JT in a timeshare as a rookie. Okay. Are we talking about JT again? Cloudy water. Gibbs to the moon, absolutely. All right, guys, hit that thumb up button on your way out the door. Appreciate every single one of you in here. Like, subscribe, go get Bijan, baby.
Hi, my name is Bijan Robinson. I like long walks on the beach. And, well, I also like scoring touchdowns.
Yeah, we're going to have to do a scheduled insulin session for sure, because when the time zone changes, we've been live for 3 hours and 1 minute. Soon I'm going to get an hour taken away on the time zone change in October, so we're definitely going to have to do a scheduled, maybe a live. I don't know if I can live stream that. That's probably not a friendly video. $5 hauler from Isaac. I consistently see Gibbs, Walker, Pierce, Dobbins, Sanders, and Aaron Jones going around the same time. Which two would you target? This is a very, 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 very easy question to answer, Sir Isaac. And the answer is give me Gibbs and Walker over the rest of those guys all day, every day. Get Charbonnet. Go get Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Skywalker. Kenneth Lightsaber swinging Skywalker.
Get Charbonnet. Pop open a nice bottle of Charbonnet.
Get Charbonnet. Thank you, Isaac. Appreciate all my super chatters tonight. Mark Cleveland, very, very glad to see him circle back into the show. Isaac, thank you. Terry, thank you. Neil with the 20 spot. Again, Mark Cleveland with that 10. Russian Collusion with the $5 hauler. Sick Nasty dropping that $4.99 right on screen, followed by the other $4.99. Bearded Steve dropping fire on the screen. Dimitri showing some $5 love. Sick Nasty with another $2 shout. B-Men dropping a 2 spot. That boy with the 5. And Dan the Grim Reacher putting his touch on the show at the very onset with the $5 hizzy. Appreciate you all. I will see you all potentially tonight, but probably tomorrow. It depends on breaking news. You know how we roll. We are live Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern every single Monday through Friday. I am live whenever news breaks, which is why you could see me later. I'm live at midnight, Thursday, Friday, Saturday for drafts. Every Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm live at on Tuesday night, midnight for Panic Chamber, and then we sometimes do drafts. I do daily uploads, and during the season, look, it's pretty much the same time slots, but things change a little. Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Live whenever news breaks. These draft shows, Thursday, Friday, Saturday at midnight, turn into start bench shows. The Sunday waiver wire show opens up. We're live at Sunday at midnight. Monday, buy low, sell high. That could be an upload, not necessarily live at midnight. I'll put the times on here too. Panic Chamber, that goes all year long. Other random shows uploaded. We do it live. Appreciate you all. See you later. Get burrowed. People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.